Ooh, that's not right. Listen, listen, listen. Welcome, welcome everyone. And my name is Rambles. Well, I ramble on for maybe 3 hours. There is not a lot to talk about today, and I want to start off with a big, big, oh, big happy birthday to the one and only. Is his name 3 Star? Is it Darren? Is it Down South 77? I'm not sure what it is. He did just hit 500 subs. So if you are not subbed to this guy right now, please head on over there. There's 40 people here. I'm sure there's probably some of you that are not. Wish him a big happy birthday in the comments. All right. Darren is actually a great guy, even though I may make little jokes at times. Darren is great. Please give him some love. Happy birthday. Go over, subscribe to his channel. And do all that other really fun stuff. Anyway, I have a show tonight. I can't say it's a big show. There's not much news. We come off the successful HasLab, which is awesome. I'm live also tomorrow. We'll talk about that a little bit. But yeah, news has slowed down. So, we'll see how far we get. I'm not going to try and push 3 hours if I can't get it because, well, let's just say that I took my normal nap before the show, and I set the alarm for 8:40 p.m. Alexa, and 8:25 I woke up. This is the sun starting to go down, and I was in a panic because I wasn't sure where I was at, and I saw that it was Monday, and I'm late for work, and I was completely out of whack. So I'm not gonna try too hard. But we do have some stuff to talk about, that is for sure. Anyway, whew. This weekend was I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Again, thank you guys again for tuning in, joining me to kick off your Monday. Again, I love it. You guys giving me a little bit of your time. This weekend, I try and stay away from YouTube a little bit, but it's just not working all that well. I did a lot of yard work around the neighborhood. I live in townhouses. I mentioned that before, and I got on the board, and unfortunately, they've the grass was within the cracks was allowed. It's been allowed to get way out of whack. And I said, hey, you know what? I will take care of my side if somebody else can take care of their side. It is more than a 1 day job. I spent 2 days going up and down my street. I didn't even get onto the other street. I'm not talking about the other side of the units. It was like 95 on 95 around 95 on Saturday, and I had my jeans on because I was weed whacking, so the stuff was kind of whipping up against me. And my ex and my daughter come driving in, and she looks over and she's like, what the hell are you doing? Why don't you have shorts on? I'm like, dude, I was weed whacking, and now I'm running all this weed and grass killer. So when you're almost 50, you realize, like, you start off being able to do some stuff that you used to be able to do, and then you realize pretty quickly you start to fizz out pretty damn quickly. So I did that. I didn't do any reviews. I don't have very much that's come in. I haven't been able to find the crystal ball or the Night Force 2-pack. I went to many Walmarts, and there was only one Walmart of all the ones that I went to that even had the display up. And when I asked them to check, it said they had 2 crystal balls and 1 Night Force, but they should be here, which means they're either sitting in the back for somebody, or somebody stole them, or somebody hid them. Again, if you can't afford something, I don't know why you hid it. We're adults here. But anyway, Yeah, so I'm still waiting on that. I should be getting a crystal ball uh, thanks to somebody. So I do appreciate that. Um, and then yeah, you know man, that's pretty much my weekend. Let's say hi to the chat really quick, and then we'll get into some other stuff here. So quickly up here, we have Mike Gold here saying, "This guy's a jerk. Oh, I'm gonna get to be a real jerk pretty soon." MTC here, U.S. Combat Dojo, Cobra 8877. We have Matthew Matson jumping in with. We have Fatrid joining in here, which I will talk about Fatrid in a second because I got to jump on Rad Toys Galaxy on Friday and had a blast. We have Ultra Mensch, Yojo, I mean Larry. We have Mendoza here. Ronnie Trickshot jumping in and saying, "Good day, Punk. Hello, everybody. Let's talk about something other than Toy Tubers going to a Toy Tuber Expo." Well, I wasn't there. I have a feeling Baldy will talk about it tomorrow because he was there. But again, I was not. We have a 3-star draw who I said a big happy birthday to. If you haven't yet, please say happy birthday and send him some love. He just hit 500 subs. So you know what? I'm going to drop it one more time here. Go over there, sub to his channel. Let's see how far we can get him over 500 before the end of this show. A Liquid Identity here, Darth Burke. We have Sabir Del Norte. We have Jason Steele. We have 610 Yo Joe Jaddy. Say, "What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Replay Squad. Y'all smash that button and subscribe. Punk, have a great show." Thank you very much. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and please hit that like button also. JLS Comics is here. SCS Dog. We have Ted Knight. We have Len. I'm not going to pronounce that last name. We have Crash jumping in, who's been a member for 24 months. So, you get a
fucking Phil Collins.
2 years of having memberships. Thank you very much. It means the absolute world to me. We have Sean Jones here. Whew. Let's see here. I'm starting to see Todd C. A lot of same names. GI Bro, who has the best guns in the community. We have the Toilet Network or Action Figs. Sometimes he doesn't realize what account he's on, but be sure to go check them out, as my moderator also does a show here. We have Sharlock, who I will be seeing in November when I head out to Assembly Required. Man, I actually got it right. I'm shocked. I actually got it right. I'm pretty happy with myself there. Let's see here. Man, a lot of the same names. We have Plastic Skulls jumping in. We have Croc Master 79 saying, "Good evening, Punk." I'm going to apologize. I swear I don't remember seeing you. Matthew Matson will let me know if I was wrong. Either way, thank you for joining. It's great to have you here. We have Graph. Actually, you have to be here before because I just noticed you're a channel member. So thank you. I should probably stop saying that. I forget. We have Medic 1849, Turk Murphy Toy Solutions, Just Plain Yogurt. I don't know if I've said this before. I think you have one of the coolest names, and just having yogurt sitting there is absolutely awesome. My Toilet Viper with Portal Potty arrives today. I think Matthew's going to agree with me. I know B agrees. I think a lot of people are going to be really upset they did not order multiple ones of these. I have 3 of them. I'm glad I got one at Joe Fest because I only ordered 2. I think you need 3 to, and again, I know people are like, that's a lot of money. I agree, it is. But once you get 3, you can really start doing a lot of different things with it. So, Soul Brother number 1, I know he's been doing a lot of stuff over on Smoking Joe's. So it's great to see you jumping out there. We have a True Star Screamer, or Trust the Screamer. Evening all. Evening all. You all need these third-party Street Sharks. Just saying. I don't even know what those are. Beardy McBeardison jumping in here. Lone Dragon. Let's see here. We have a Dustin Blair. And let's see, Ray Black. Trying to go through everything. And Action Figs has now become Action Figs. So, all right. We got to the end. 78 people watching. Please hit that like button if you haven't yet. Again, I got a show. I can't say it's a big show. We have a show. A war chest full of toys here, saying war chest is here to hate watch. Oh, there's a reason why I asked. So just stick around, and we're not gonna have to make it all the way to the we're not gonna have to make it all the way to the topic. All right. And I'm gonna drop this one more time. Wish this guy a happy birthday. 3-star draw. He hit 500 subs. He was sitting at 500 before I started. So please head on over there. Wish him a happy birthday. He deserves it. See how far we can get him over 500 before the end of this show. HK Viper here. Hi, it's me saying the Porta Potty showed up back on Pulse today in stock and also pre-order window closed. I noticed that pre-order window. It was very strange because I went and looked. So I was like, would I order a couple more? Cobra Commander jumping here saying, don't feel special, Punk. You are not the only channel I hate watch. Oh, I don't feel special. Don't worry. I'm just asking. And Joe Fan 84 jumping in and saying, hello, everyone. I'll be in and out of the chat. I'm still at work. Well, don't do anything stupid. Don't lop an arm off or anything at work. You don't want to do that. And Skunkworks Studios. Oh, if you're not following Jeff, please follow him. Great guy. And he's also big enough he could rip your arm off. All right. So, like I said, everyone, I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. This weekend started off, and I got to start off with my thanks. This weekend started off Friday night. I was invited to join Rad Toys Galaxy with Rad Toys, Fatrid, and a few other people. It was a blast. It's awesome being on a show where it's not the usual people that we see all the time. Obviously, when we're doing Circle of Jerks, I see all the same names. If Tony and I do something, the clubhouse is all the same names. These are almost all new names, and it's great to see new names popping up. Again, people you get to kind of follow, and maybe hopefully some people tune in here and realize, hey, this place is actually kind of fun on Monday night. I guess if you're a glutton for punishment. So thank you to Rad Toys. I have a feeling Fatrid maybe had something to do with that. So thank you to all all of you guys. And then right after that, I jumped on 3-star draws. What are you calling it? Your Friday night fun bunch? I don't know. I think I just made that up. For his little birthday celebration, which is tonight. I think he's an adult that still kind of celebrates the whole weekend. Again, we're adults. We don't celebrate that much. We have Paul Morales jumping in here, and we have Richard Burns just jumping in here also. So I only plan on jumping for a short bit, and I went literally 8 p.m. They only went for like an hour and a half. And Red, I'm like, oh, it's only an hour and a half. Like, what the hell? I got hours and hours to go. I talked backstage, and then I jumped on with Darren right after, and I think we were on to about 3 a.m. So kind of broke my whole hey, I'm not really gonna be on that much. I'm trying to stay away from it. But anyway, go check it out. It was a lot of fun. They do a lot of world building, a lot of 118 stuff if you're into. But Rad does all kinds of stuff, so please check it out. Crocmaster jumping in here saying, apologize for the question. No, don't apologize, because I totally screwed something up with you. Apologize for the question. The Porta Potty shows in stock, but pre-order closed. Will we be able to order that in your opinion? I missed getting one. I didn't see it in stock. I know they just said it was. I went and looked, and all that I saw, the pre-order window had closed, which I found kind of odd because you only see that on stuff that is made to order. So I have no idea. I would hope that they're going to make some. This was one of the weirdest. This is one of the weirdest drops they did. And what I mean by that is it went up and then it was just gone. And everyone said it's not even on the site anymore. But if you had ordered one, your order was still there. But you can't click on when you order something on Pulse, on Amazon, you go to Amazon and you click on it, it brings you to the page. Even if it's sold out, it takes you to it. You can't do that on Pulse. So it was just gone. I think you would have to have a direct link to it. So I don't know. I hope so for people that want it. And for people that got one and said, you know what? I need more. because dude, they're really cool, man. So hopefully hopefully they're gonna go up. I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, this is a cash cow for them, to be honest, and that's why they're doing it in the Joe version too. Eric Thurman jumping in here saying, "What up, Joe fan?" He's speaking to Joe fan, not to me. And then on Sunday, as I did some work and then I kind of sputtered out, I jumped on and over on the other channel that I'm doing, the TV terminal. Adam and I started watching the terminal list Dark Wolf. Now I'm going to drop a link right here, so please head on over there. Right now we are covering Dexter. He's also covering Chief of War with his brother, Revival. We've done Murderbot and what's the other one? Mobland. So we're also going to be doing the terminal list, Dark Wolf, and we got the screeners for it. We watched it. So if you watch the terminal list, it's based off Chris Pratt's character Reese. This is a prequel, and it follows Taylor Kitsch's character, and so it takes place, I think it's 6 years in the past. So you don't have to really watch the terminal list to follow this one. It's going to show you everything. It leads up everything. And I think watching the terminal list after this, it's going to fill you in on all the things. First episode was like an hour and 5 minutes long, and it was really, really good. Really action packed. I think people are going to like it. So please, if you're not following us over there, please hit the subscribe. Watch some of the stuff. It's just Adam and I on the shows we do. Adam and his brother do stuff. And there's talk that maybe I'll do stuff with maybe some other people, depending on the screeners. But I only have so much time to sit in this chair, to be 100% honest. This is not my profession. That is for sure. It does not pay the bills. But head on over there. But yeah, we started watching that. I also watched The Waterfront on Netflix. And if you have Netflix and you clicked on it, you've probably been like, dude, what the hell is this? It's always like in the top 10. And I enjoyed it. Is it the greatest show? No. But it's pretty damn good. And it's not super violent, but when there's violence, it's very, very brutal. Like, it is very brutal, and I think a lot of people are going to like it and kind of be shocked when they see some of the stuff that it does. So if you haven't watched The Waterfront, again, I watched it in a whole weekend. It's like 8 episodes, I think. It goes by pretty quickly, to be honest. So give me 1 second here. All right. So that was The Waterfront. No, I didn't cover that. Netflix shows are too hard for us to cover because they all get dropped in one day. Not the greatest thing if you want to try and review a show. So, and if you're asking about the terminal list, it doesn't come out till the 27th, I think, of this month. So we're still way, way ahead. At least we're trying to catch up. Derek Hoover jumping in here saying, popping in for as long as I can. The heat and this route took me down a peg or two today. Crowd funds, I think their days are numbered, especially at Hasbro. Well, we're going to talk about it at the end of the day, the end of the night. So I'm not so sure. And I think we're definitely going to get into it. I mean, obviously that's why I threw it up there as a topic. All right. Trying to read through everything. Yeah, so there was no Thursday with a friend last week because I wanted to do a countdown to the HasLab, and it was already fully funded. But going forward, there's 89 people watching right now. I know a lot of you are into you guys watch us on Circle of Jerks, and I'm really happy about that. We all are, but we have finally come to that time that we feel that it's time to convert this all down to one channel. This is worrisome on my part because the chat is awesome. It's really what makes that show so good, other than our banter. But 75% of the people are watching on my channel. But this is really Baldy's brainchild. And it's time for us to switch everything over there. So if you're not subscribed to Baldy's channel, here's a link to our show tomorrow. Please, I want to see everyone over there. There's 90 people watching right now. Every one of you needs to go over there quickly, click on this link, and hit remind me. All right. 6:30, the same thing. Again, it's just going to be all over on his channel now. We're going to see how this goes. Again, it's too hard because StreamYard cannot consolidate everything. So if people are chatting on mine and then people are chatting on Baldy's or Tony's or Specs or Terry's or whoever, when we highlight a chat, you might not see it. And I know it's very frustrating, especially for what we do in this community. It is all just these shows are nothing without people talking. If this was a politics show where you're asking questions, or let's say an electronic show where you're just asking questions, it doesn't matter if it's on 5 different people's channels. They're highlighting it and they're answering the question. This is different. We're a community. We chat back and forth. So please, if you guys could head on over to Baldy's. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Just hit that remind me. Again, it's going to be the same old show, except for I don't give a shit what happens because, I'm not going to get demonetized. So who knows what Baldy might do? All right, he does a lot of stuff on his own that shock us all. So please head on over there. Again, it's going to be a lot of fun. And here is the link once again. I know I just put it, but here's the link again. Please head on over there. All right. This week, this one has been a long time coming. All right. This has been a long time coming. This Thursday with a friend. And I want you guys to understand, I said when I started doing Thursday with a friend, I will not talk to an avatar. That was one of my requirements. I can't talk to an avatar. That Thursday with a friend, it is getting people's reactions, seeing their facial expressions. That's what tells the whole story when I'm talking to them. Again, this is not an interview anymore. Kind of like what it started off as. What it is it's just a conversation, usually one that goes 2 to 3 hours. And this week, he showed his face on another stream, and he's jumped on a few more. And this week, I am going to have the one and only Chaz the Guru. I've talked to Chaz numerous times over not Facebook. I'll probably talk to him on Facebook. I've talked to him on Instagram. And you guys have started to see him. He's popped up on a few other channels. And I finally said, hey, you've shown your face. And as soon as I saw that he showed his face, I messaged him and said, hey, would you like to come on? And we worked it out. And I am so excited to finally sit down and have a face-to-face conversation with this guy. I do hope I hope the one day to meet every single one of you, because it is great going to Joe Fest and meeting everyone, or Assembly Required, where I'll be going, or just when I met people in Sergeant Reds and stuff like that. It is absolutely great to meet so many people. So this is the second best thing, right? This is the next best thing. So anyway, please, if you haven't, hit that remind me on that. I think this is going to be a good one. I don't know what Chaz is going to say. We've all seen what he says throughout his memes. You can't. I mean, you've said it throughout your memes. Like, you can't bite your tongue anymore. I think you're going to be. I think he's going to be one of those ones that we might go 4 hours easily, and I have to cut it off. Cut that off. Come on, you sick bastards. Trying to see if I have anything else. If I have anyone else to say hi to. I don't think I do. All right. This week, all I had dropped was I got the divers in. I know most of you don't know because I saw the views on the I saw the views on it. Not the greatest not the greatest review view wise that I've ever had, but I gotta say, you know, for $55, are these a little overpriced? I've been saying that forever. Two packs should be 45, not 55. And yes, they are just plain straight up reuse. But I talked to Bobby about them, and he said, you know what? I kind of want another pack. And I haven't gone and canceled my pack from Target. I got them from the CMD store. I don't know if they're still available. But they're a lot of fun, and I don't know why. I mean, I think the diver, I do think that the buck is a really good buck. But there's something about those colors, and I think they're really gonna pop once I get them on my shelves and I figure out how to do like a sea scene. I also think that those early weapons, Duke's weapon and Gung Ho's weapon, I think they really work for the water because they're more laser, and of course they go with Cobra, but they also give you the two SMGs, which I think are still some of the best weapons that Hasbro's made for GI Joe. But yeah, those are really nice. I'll probably look for another pack if they go on clearance at Target. I'm not one of those people that says, "Hey, wait to goes on clearance," but I already have them. But they're a lot of fun. And then I did things out of order, but I've kind of been doing that lately when it comes to my retro reviews. I didn't have time to do what I wanted to do with the Mauler. So I just kind of modified it and I went, man, the Snowcat is coming up. It ends on, the HasLab funding ends. Why don't I just do my retro or my classic review and drop it on Thursday? And that's what I did. And that's what you do when you look at YouTube. You go, people are going to be searching Snowcat. I'm going to drop my classic review, and it definitely helped to bump it up and get more views. Those don't get a lot of views, but if you can bump it up a little bit, then people maybe tune into it and they're like, hey, look, this is this. It was actually pretty cool. So I dropped Frostbite, Snow Job, and then over the weekend, the guy that was supposed to come on Wednesday, Dusty, dropped. And to be honest, I haven't done the rest. I have not done my other reviews. I don't even know who I'm supposed to do next. You start to get kind of, I don't want to say burnt out, but you just have so much going on. And I gotta say, right now with summer, I don't always want to be cooped up. That's why I try getting so many done ahead of time, but I've kind of failed. All right, so that's what I got going on for this week. All right. I'm kind of on the fence about this, but I'm going to address it. And look at this. We have Baldy Fucks review saying, yo, neighbors. And what did I say? Starting tomorrow, right here. This is where we're going to go. Please hit that, remind me button. So head on over there. We got Crocmaster, who just became a YouTube member. So you know what you're going to get.
Welcome to the creamery.
I need to go and change that. It needs to say welcome to the creamery. That's what it needs to say. Thank you very much, Crocmaster. All right. Let me take a drink. So I was kind of on the fence about this. But this is how I feel. If you're going to leave something in the comments that everyone can read, then I should have no problem pulling it up on my streams. And that means good or bad. That means good or bad. So quickly, let's say hi to Mudhorn Station. And we have Matt O'Brien jumping in right now. All right. So they got this guy. He's made a few comments. He's made more comments than this, but once the comments are made, they get lost and they're hard to find. And I don't screenshot everything. I mean, you can go and find it, but so this guy right here, our buddy Greg Getson, what is that? And these are a couple of them. This is on Snake Eyes version 4. He says, it seems like they were stretching the budget for the wave a little thin on him. Fun holster. A fun holster is a rubber flap, and the vest is a little lackluster. Some color on the buttons or a wash would have done wonders. I heard Battle Armor Commander is the same way. Not terrible figures, but they could be classified up a little more. Not a bad comment. That's someone that has, a constructive criticism. Fully cool with that, right? Triple D's Dungeon jumping in here, Dave, and then we have Tony's Figs, who also will be on Circle of. I don't know if he's gonna be on Circle of Jerks tomorrow, because Tony works. He's a paramedic, so sometimes he's on the bus. So anyway, Greg had left this comment. Not a big deal, right? I don't think too much of it. But I've also seen other comments from him. So then here's another one. Okay, and it seems, and this was when I showed off the box full of accessories, right? It says $5 Harbor Freight. You can get a plastic organizer. They have removable tabs, so you can make the section bigger or small. They're great for sorting and storing the weapons and finding certain things you are looking for. And I have that. And I made a comment and I said I do have that. That's the newer stuff. I always like to throw everything in a box because I'm not sure how I want to display it yet. All right. So there's a couple comments. Again, these are types of comments. And again, you can leave whatever types of comments you want. But then there's a few more. And I believe this is a dirty deleting one. Okay. So, let me see something. Oops. Oh, shit. Is this the right one? Oh, shit. I might have put the wrong one in here. No. So, I didn't say Greg. I meant George. So he says, this was on Circle of Jerks, I believe. Stop crying about your rumblers so much. Most collectors don't have their rattlers either. Lenny has gotten this real elitist attitude lately. Like, if you don't agree with his opinion, you are wrong. Go watch his old videos. All he did was bitch and complain about the line in every figure he reviewed. As you can see, I replied, who is Lenny? What does the Rumbler have to do with the Rattler? Now, I believe this one is gone. This is when I screenshot it because I'm like, what the fuck, dude? So first off, why did I complain about the Rumbler? It's because they created a shipper quite some time ago, and they haven't shipped it. Other people have started receiving it, and they tend to ignore your comments or your emails when you ask them about it. Okay. He completely got my name wrong. Lenny. I think he was trying to say Larry, and you'll see later on why. Lenny has got this real elitist attitude lately. If you don't agree with his opinion, you are wrong. Okay, first off, that's nothing fucking new. All right? Let's just get that out of the way. That's nothing new. But I wouldn't say I'm elitist at all. But you can say whatever you want. Then he says, go watch his old videos. All he did was bitch and complain about the line and every figure he reviewed. Please go watch my old reviews. Please do. I mean, it helps the algorithm. It helps more people YouTube say, hey, people should watch this. And hey, I love when people watch my old reviews and leave comments. Sometimes I have to go back and figure out what they were talking about because I had done it so long ago. I don't sit there and complain. I give my opinion. I didn't bitch and complain about everything. I did complain definitely about, the weapons back in the day. I give my honest opinion. Lone Dragon says Lenny has been a bit smart. Believe me, I had to look at this and go like, does he mean Lenny from like the Joe team? But if you read on, that wouldn't make any sense. It says he meant to say Squiggy and not Lenny. Possibly. That's Cal Shave jumping in here. Mark Harkness is jumping in here. Said Lenny, what's Squiggy? Lenny, yeah, Squiggy. But yeah, so yes, a punk with Lenny. That's right there. And Baldy saying he will absolutely be introduced as Lenny tomorrow. And then Ronnie Trickshot jumping in here with a member of 2 months saying Larry calls George Greg after he calls him Lenny. You're absolutely correct. And you know what you get? You get a
fucking Phil Collins.
All right. So, again, I stopped responding to some of the stuff because it's just too much. Then we get this one. So this was left by another guy saying they lied. People aren't happy. Deal with it. Now this was in response to the fact that people thought they said that the Snowcat and the Thunder Machine will be put out in retail because they said, I don't think that it needs to be a HasLab. They never said it wouldn't be a HasLab. They never said that it would be retail. What happened was this got caught on video, and then you had other YouTubers that went out there and told everyone that this is going to be a retail at a higher price point. They never said that. You listen to other people, and I said, who lied and what did they say? And then George jumps in and says, Punk with Toys, you are not coming off well in this whole thing. Just shut up about the Snowcat and stop trying to shill it because you want to see it made and telling your viewers to be irresponsible with their money. It's not a good look. Once again, this is people that hear what they want to hear. I never once told anyone to back this so I can get it. What I did say numerous times, and I'm not the only one, and this is something that I also saw other people talk about, and then other people say this is gatekeeping. I don't think you know what gatekeeping means, Chad. But the fact is, if you're saying I'm only going to back it if it hits all the tiers, then we kept saying, then just back it now. Back it now. All right. And then if it doesn't hit the tiers, just unback it. It's that simple. It's really that simple. This was the one that Baldy wasn't on because we were saying, hey, if we can get this over 8,000 right now, we're going to take credit. So everyone go back 5 of them right now. I don't really expect anyone. Again, you're not getting charged for it. I've said numerous times, and I will say it over and over and over. If you didn't think that this was worth the money, then you don't back it. If you don't think that it is worth your money, fine, then you don't back it. But if you think that it's worth it, but all the tiers had to be met, then I said go back it. And then if it doesn't hit it, you just go then and you say, hey, I don't want this. Boom. End of story. You don't even have to wait till it funds and hits your bank account. It really is that simple. But that's what this was in response to. Okay. So I'm just like, whatever, again, it doesn't make any sense. And this is the last one that I have from Mr. George. And that was, dude, Larry is the worst part of the show. Now, mind you, he's leaving it on mine. This was on Baldy's channel. This was on Specs' channel. This was also on Terry's channel. He's watching it on mine. He could have gone and watched it somewhere else. And that is fine. Dude, Larry is the worst part of the show. You might be correct, and that's perfectly fine. But the fact of the matter is, I am part of the show. So you either deal with it or you don't. I do expect him to probably make a comment on this. And before anyone says, why are you calling out someone that is a fan of your show? This is clearly not a fan. This is someone who hate watches, and that's fine. It's a view. It works for me. But if you're willing to put this stuff out there for everyone to read, then I should have no problem being able to read it. And you shouldn't be pissed off at me that I do read it or that I call you Greg by mistake. All right. So people hate watch. I talk about this all the time. Hate watching is a real thing. I don't do it because I have other things to do with my life. I'm not saying I've never watched things that I don't like, because someone might send me stuff. And I have people that send me stuff of people that I don't like, and then their fucking shit gets stuck in my algorithm and it drives me nuts. Um, so Nelson Culligan jumping in here saying agree with you or not, your show has personality. That's what keeps me tuning in. Thank you very much. And I take pride in that. I mean, again, I'm just being myself. And again, no one has to agree with me. All right. I don't expect everyone to agree with me. I don't expect everyone to be like me. And I don't expect everyone to back the Snowcat. I especially don't expect people to back it that don't have the money. And again, if you don't think that it's worth it, then that's fine. I mean, worth is in your mind. All right. And you know, the reality of it, I think that it was worth it. I thought that 325 was worth it with just Frostbite. But my response, and a lot of other people's response, has been to all the people that kind of kept complaining about it. So, Hi, it's me. Says, I only backed the Snowcat because Punk threatened me like I'm not an old ass adult 2 times his size. I don't know. Are you? I don't know. Are you? That's pretty big, though. Michael Benz jumping here saying, sorry that upsets you, buddy. Doesn't upset me. Believe me, there is nothing that anyone says on fucking YouTube here that makes me lose a second of sleep. I don't sleep, so that's a whole other story. Kenzo's Creations jumping in here saying, good evening, punks and peeps. Okay, so before anyone, don't think that any of this bothers me. It doesn't. But if you put it out there and I can make content out of it, I can create content out of what you're doing, then I'm going to do it. And I'm not a big fan of like calling people out. And if it's one comment, but after a while, you're like, you know what? You want your name read. So I'm going to read your name. And I'm going to read and let people decide. And again, if I've ever said during this whole Snowcat, campaign, I need you to fund this. If I told you to spend your money, then I was mistaken and I worded it wrong, because I've never once said that. Doug Ian says, I should have signed his chest when he asked for it at the con. Now he's pissed. I don't know, that to me. Graf says, seriously, has anyone ever seen Larry and Lenny in a room at the same time? What is funny about this is that my crackhead neighbor, and she's a crackhead, she has meth mouth, across the street. She, my old next door neighbor, who I'm friends with, she was like talking. She was asking about me about something, and she's like, Lenny over there, and she goes, who? She's like, Lenny, your neighbor. She's like, you mean Larry? And she's like, no, his name is Lenny. And she's like, Heather's like, no, it's not. No, his name's Lenny. She's like, no, it's not. It's never been Lenny. So it is kind of funny. But my name is not Lenny. I can tell you that much. Bobby Wold says, I backed it because I love G.I. Joe. And again, I didn't want anyone to spend money that they don't have, or they don't think it's worth it. But after so many, you're just like, you know what? Let's address this. I mean, you could jump in live and talk about it. Maybe you're not available live. I don't know. Yes, Lenny on Lenny action. We got Tripwire jumping in here saying, I only backed the Snowcat because Punk won't agree to keep his at my house. Okay, that is true statement. I will not agree to keep it at your house or anyone else's. Evo Dookie jumping in here saying, gotta have to catch the replay. This kid of mine won't sleep. Oof. I remember those days. I definitely do remember that. And Derek kind of jumping in and saying, I don't understand people flipping the fuck out about crowdfunds. People who want to buy and can buy it will. If you don't want it, why should they care? I agree. But again, like for us, I don't care if people didn't want it, but when you see the crying, and I understand it's like this in all the communities, and I don't know, I don't think you're actually saying this at me, but there's so many people that were mad because they don't think that it should be crowdfunded, and Hasbro should just take it on the chin. They should buy it, they should just make everything. And when people are like, hey, you know what? No, there are people that wanted other people to back it just so they could get it. Did I want all the tiers? I did. Would I have been disappointed if we didn't get them all? I sure would have. Who wouldn't want extra stuff? But the fact is, we didn't know if it was going to, and we've heard a lot of people say it. Like, you have to look at what the initial fund is, and if you think that's going to be worth it. But this wasn't really about this. This was just about someone who clearly doesn't like me, but watches the show, and he watches a lot of it because he makes comments on specific things. And again, if you don't like the show, if you don't like me, you don't have to watch it. There are plenty of other people on Talking Toys. A lot of people. Even right now, there are other people. You can head on over to Jerkin Games. They're live. I don't know if they're still live right now. They were live, right? There are other people on Mondays. There's other people on Tuesdays. So feel free to go. That's what I do. I don't enjoy someone. I don't watch it. So Derek says, the Midwest, the Midwest and meth, like peanut butter and crack. I mean jelly. Yeah, her mouth is really fucking messed up. It's really. I'll tell you how bad she is. She doesn't have custody of her son, and the craziest thing is, I don't think the dad really wants the son, but he's with him, so I kind of feel bad for the damn kid, to be honest. Ayo, Frankie jumping in here saying, "What's up, Punk?" Whew. Anyway, so that was just something I wanted to kind of address. Just because if you're going to put your name out there and you're going to constantly make comments, and I think the last comment was probably the biggest one, saying, hey, you know what? Larry's the worst part of the show. Again, there are certain people that will say stuff and they mean it tongue in cheek. They're taking little shots or jabs and just trying to have fun. After you read so many, you're like, you know what? You want your name read. You're going to get your name read. And Legend Series, Tony jumping in here saying, hello, friends. Please check out Legend Series. This guy is doing a lot, him and his wife, so please check them out. Whew. All right. Mike Gold says, hello, Greg. George, if you're watching now. Yeah, I know. You do stuff like this, you get things wrong. I mean, hell, you guys have watched the show before. All right. Quickly. The sponsors, Hella Dope Toys. Head on over there. Use my code APWT. You get 10% off your entire order. That means in stock or pre-order. No one else does that. We have the Entertainment Earth. I'm going to start using the Entertainment Earth a little bit more. I've seen some people still use the code or use my link to jump in there. So I'll probably start posting that again. Amazon. Also, the Facebook group, Punks with Toys. If you're on Facebook and you want to join a group, we post some memes. I post when I go live or when I have reviews. Other people post their customs. There's no politic bullshit talk. There's no infighting. There's no drama talking about other channels. It's just toy talk, and that's it. It is Punks with Toys. But if you cannot answer the 3 simple questions, which is it's like, do you collect toys? What is your line? What is your favorite line? That's Roman right there. You can probably hear him scratching. There's 3 questions. What's your favorite line? Modern or vintage? And do you agree to the rules? If you can't answer those, we literally just decline. I don't have time to click on your name, scroll through, see if you're an actual toy collector. They're really simple questions, and they're made so we don't get bots and stuff like that in there. That's why everyone puts those on there. So, all right. So please, if you haven't, I haven't really promoted it that much. I probably should promote it a little bit more. So, Allison Troy jumping in here saying, I came in mid-rant. Who are we mad at this time? I'm not mad at anyone. I'm just this guy, George or Greg. I called him Greg to begin with. His name is George. People are probably like, dude, are you gonna bitch about Greg, the guy that like drops off his shit so you can review? No, it was not that. But Greg, if you're watching, remember I did get the Rattler today, so you're finally gonna get your Rattler. Darth Burke jumping in saying, if you cannot answer my questions, if you can't answer my question 3, a Facebook member, you cannot be. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I like that. That's what's his name? Dr. Seuss. Telling you, man. Doing this alone, man, your thoughts go elsewhere. But anyway, that's the group right there. Also, before we start, both my moderators are here. There's 101 people watching. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't. But also, both of you guys, Matthew and Ed, drop a link to both of your shows tomorrow. Matthew goes on with Pop Blender on Pop Blender's channel at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Matthew, drop a link. And Ed, if you're here, drop a link to your show. You go on the Toy Elite Network with Travis, not Hexastack, at 9 p.m. Eastern. So please drop a link. I'm going to take a quick breather so you can hear from our sponsor, who I need to get a new commercial.
Oh, hey guys. So Lawrence, he had to step away for a little bit. He's got a case of the grumble dust. So he asked me to kind of watch over a stream. He put me in charge of y'all. He said to me, "Oh, Moss Man, I have a case of the grumble dust, and I need you to watch myself for a little bit so nobody leaves and finds out that there's more interesting things to watch on YouTube. And also, I hate Ohio." So I was like, oh, dang, so now I have to come up with a topic for my very own show. And I was like, oh, what about talking about your favorite toy stores? So my favorite toy store is HelloDopeToys.com. So they used to have this really bad website. It used to look real scammy. Like if I gave them money, they were going to go spend it on like blow and hookers. But now their website is really nice. And like I can just go in and do like 1-2 click. And then my order's placed. And they ship super fast, guys. They ship everything in 1 business day. So like I get all my toys first. So when I'm out there on the playground and all my friends are like, oh, dang, Moss Man, where'd you get that action figure? I still have to wait 17 months for mine. And I'm just like, well, I went to HelloDopeToys.com and I just pushed the buttons and then they shipped it out to me. And the packaging is so nice, guys. Like I opened up the box and I was like, oh, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this kind of packaging. It's so nice. But then my trash can gets full because of all the packing stuff. And I was just like, oh, dang, I just changed the trash. But now I gotta change the trash again. Oh, you're right, Matthew Matson. You can use the code APWT at HelloDopeToys.com and save 10% on your order. So how that works is, so you're gonna save 10%, and then a Punk with Toys, he has to pay that 10% that y'all save. So if you don't like Lawrence, you can just go to HelloDopeToys.com and just buy a bunch of stuff and rack up his bill. So then like at the end of the month, they're like, Hello Toys is like, oh, Lawrence, you owe us $1 million because of all the 10% codes that everybody used. And yeah, that's how that works. Okay, guys, so it looks like it's time for me to go now. So make sure you go to HelloDopeToys.com and like and subscribe. And then in the comments, put what your favorite toy store is. But if it's not HelloDopeToys.com, I'm probably just going to delete it, okay? So, all right, guys, bye!
All right, Cobra Commander, this made me laugh. Matthew with the same comment every time. I don't know why that made me laugh. Like I'm watching it, I'm like, that's one I need to highlight. I also got this, and that is Mossman. So I've never had Mossman. I finally got him, and he's riding the polar bear, which I just think looks really, really cool. The polar bear is awesome. The polar bear actually really works good for the 1/18 scale figures too. So Fatrid, you might want to get a polar bear. Again, I think you might enjoy the polar bear. it would be great in your diorama. But yeah, if you're a 1/18th guy and you have the Snowcat or any Arctic, the polar bear, he'd be oversized compared to them. But again, who cares? An oversized polar bear would be actually pretty damn cool. We have Johnny Reno jumping in here saying, ew, I don't know what he's ewing about. An Archangel, Michael Mars jumping in. Salutations, Punk. You're one of the best things for the community. Also, Mossman for president. He's probably, I think I'd still rather have Mossman than any of the candidates for the past 3 times we've had to vote. And this is not political, okay? We're just gonna leave it at that. But quickly, let me reiterate, there's 93 people watching right now. So starting tomorrow, if you are not watching or you haven't been watching, you're just tuning in right now, Circle of Jerks will be switching over solely on 2 Baldy Locks reviews. There's a link to it right there. That's to the actual show. Go over there, hit the remind me because you want to do that. Because hey, you know what? We still want everyone over there. Again, it just sucks. It just sucks to be. It sucks that StreamYard and YouTube can't work together and figure stuff out. Toy Binging jumping in here saying, you just need a 1/6 dale Coca-Cola bottle. So you don't follow me on Instagram? I have one. I have it. I actually have it in his hand. Or it's actually in his mouth. He technically can't hold it. And then let's see, BQ King jumping in saying, hey to Lone Dragon. And then I guess one last thing before we get into everything, and that is this. And that is a big happy birthday, if you haven't yet, to 3-Star Draw. He hit 500 subs today. Here's a link to his channel. Head on over there quickly. Hit subscribe. I'm literally looking at 500 subs when we started. And if I hit refresh, did he get any new subs from me pushing his birthday? He's now up to 502. So I hope that means all of you have already been subscribed to Darren. And only 2 of you were like, how did I not subscribe to him yet? So anyway, that's it. I guess now we can get into the news of the week, which isn't very much. And we'll start off with a little Todd McFarlane. Is McFarlane Toys, Todd Toys, if you remember early on what it used to be called. And he did drop the McFarlane's, the McFarlane Toy Store, Mr. Bones, and I have no idea who this guy is. I know we talked about it like last week, I think. I think there's actually more solicitations. I think this figure looks awesome. And again, even though he has pins, and you know my feelings on pins, I don't hate them, but his are huge. They're hidden pretty well because it's just a black figure, so they're not standing out. But I think this head sculpt again looks pretty cool. He's got the straight edge bones on him, a wire cape. All in all, he's just a very neat looking figure. Again, I know nothing about this character. I don't know. I mean, again, I look at him and I think like, was Spawn designed after him, or maybe this guy came after Spawn? I don't really know, but you definitely can see a lot of Spawn characteristics in this character. And kind of like the not just Spawn, but I guess also Ghost Rider. But either way, I think the figure looks really good. All right. I really don't know what this guy is going to do after he loses the DC license. I still think he's fighting to have a small share of it, but I just can't imagine that Mattel is going to want him to have any of it. I do think that if he can maybe modernize some of these figures, I know people have thought maybe it'd be great for him to get the Marvel Select license, what's left there. But he even talked about that in another show where he said, like, it might be hard for anyone to get that because I'm sure Hasbro doesn't want other people to have it. And he's like, I can fully understand that. Like, it totally makes sense. Like, you paying a lot of money to have have this license. You don't want other people to have it. But either way, again, I think this actually looks really, really good. And let's say hi to a Viper Scout. Always tune in to Punk's Pit because it is the one place you almost always see him. He's like a staple of Punk's Pit. And Viper Scout is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to G.I. Joe and especially the O-ring stuff. So, and then we have, what is this? Obsidian. And he looks, I don't know if he looks like, I don't know what he looks like. Although I will say this, looking at this artwork, it almost looks like he's supposed to have pins. So maybe the pins were really good for this guy. It actually looks like he's supposed to have pins. I know nothing about this guy. It looks like he has almost the exact same wire cape. It looks like he's pretty much the same, might be the same buck for the most part. The legs are definitely different. But I think there's a lot to it that's the exact same. Again, it looks decent for what it is. But I have no idea. And as we know, he won't have the license much longer. He won't have the license much longer. Soul Brother number 1 says, son of Green Lantern, Alan Scott. All right. I wouldn't have known that in a million years. But again, that's why you guys tune in. And is there anyone that's like, you know what we need? We need the old school packaging that when you try and get them out of it, your hands get sliced up like you were just attacked by Freddy. This is seriously just so awful. I hate this type of packaging. I'm glad most people don't use it anymore, but it's not just on toys. It's on so many other things. We have Clint Jorgensen jumping in here saying blackface vision. It's oh my God. It looks like that. Sean Tate jumping in here saying my Rattler finally arrived today. Well, I actually got mine today also. Like I said, I got mine from Greg, but he said just give me yours when it comes in, and it finally came in today. So you and I are in the same boat, and I think Matthew's is scheduled for Thursday. So I know he's pretty excited for his. The Toy Matrix jumping in here saying, yo, Punk, Mr. Bones looks solid apart from those pins. Well, again, he's one of the figures you can get away with it because he's all in black, so you don't even notice. So blackface vision here. Yeah, that's the end. So I will say this, and I ordered this. It's not coming till Wednesday. I ordered it off Amazon. The Jokerized Batmobile, 66 Batmobile. Now, again, why would I order a 66 Jokerized Batmobile? Well, because it's $10 on Amazon right now. And I'm like, you know what? I'll spend $10 on it. I can find like Cobra Commander driving in that or something. I have some ideas of doing a parade with it. But yeah, if you want the Jokerized 66 Batmobile, it's like $10.49 or something on Amazon. Normally like $50. I'm like, for $10 I'll buy it. I mean, I spend way more on much stupider stuff than that. And if it sucks, then I wasted $10. Wouldn't be the first time that I wasted $10. So, all right. Sean Tate saying, I'm in Michigan, Punk, about an hour and 45 minutes drive down to Van Dyke to Sergeant Red's. It's not that bad. It's worth the drive. I'll tell you that much right now, especially if you're, Darren, 1042. I'm like, fuck it. It's $11, right? I think a little over 11 after taxes. Yeah, if you have something in mind, like you want to head down to Sergeant Red's, there's also other toy stores. John, if you're listening, there are no other toy stores other than Sergeant Red's. But John, if you're not listening, there are other toy stores in the area. Probably about a half hour from there. Well, actually, there's a few more than that. There's one literally right next door. I think he's moving though. It is definitely worth the day trip. And again, if you wanted to, meet up there, let me know. I'll be more than happy to meet up there. Not on Sunday because Sunday tugboat's coming in from wrestling, or the Shockmaster, or whatever you want to call them. Yeah, just make sure you don't go on a day he has an event going. But no, it is worth the 2-hour drive. There is no doubt about it, especially if you have something in mind. And also, if you go to Sergeant Red's, especially if you take a long drive down there and you don't see something, make sure you ask him if he has it, because there's a good chance that he has it either in his warehouse. And I'm talking about vintage stuff and obviously new stuff. Well, football hasn't started yet. So anyway, if you are going, shoot me a message on Instagram. I can meet you there or whatever. And so, all right. Boss Fight Studios. They have a Garfield line. They have I believe they have the main line for Garfield, the master license. So here's Garfield and Odie. Garfield with a peg leg. I'm not a big Garfield fan. Never been a Garfield fan. Heathcliff was way cooler than him, although they looked the exact same. Except one was like meaner and tougher, and Garfield was lazy as shit. And Odie is like so many dogs that we know. But yeah, here he is as a pirate. I bet this Garfield and Odie would go really well with the Plunderlings. Man, I may have to check that out. And quickly, yeah, Soul Brother 1 is saying Saturdays 2 talking about football. Yeah, I mean, come fall, yeah, the weekends are pretty much for football for a lot of males and some females too. But this is Garfield's Halloween adventure. I don't know how he gets a peg. I mean, it's not so much a Halloween adventure if you lost a leg and that's part of your disguise. But they have a bag, nice little pirate hat. It looks like he's some sort of pirate also. So pretty cool. And I do like that it's in his teeth. Again, I think Boss Fight Studios, and again, there are a lot of rumors about stuff that's going on with Boss Fight Studios, and hear that there's a lot of backstabbing that's happened. I don't really know everything that's happened within Boss Fight Studios. What I do know is that every single figure of theirs that I've had, including the 4-inch figures, the Saurozoic Warriors, and that Red Sonja, they make really good figures. They look good. They feel good. They're very smooth. So, in my opinion, they make great figures. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're one of the better independent and stronger independent toy companies, and have continued to be for quite some time. So here's Garfield. I think Garfield actually looks really good. I mean, again, I think they nailed the likeness here. But yeah, Sherlock Heathcliff was the better cartoon, 100%. I can't even be argued. I mean, seriously, like Heathcliff was like the Scrappy Doo, right? And in a cat form. But it always shocked me how much they look the exact same. They always look so similar. And when I remember being young going, why would they do the exact same one twice? Matthew says the Halloween episode of Garfield won an Emmy. Didn't know that. So here's everything that you're going to get with them. so you don't have to have Garfield with the or Garfield or Odie with peg legs. So you are able to change that out. The bag. So again, nice little accessories, and again, good for Halloween. I doubt these will come before Halloween. I also didn't look at the price. The price is probably 30 or 35. That's normally what they run. But then we get Garfield and Turtles. Now, again, I do not cover Turtles, but I do cover Boss Fight Studios. This isn't Turtles. I do know, and I didn't put any slides in here. I believe NECA is Nika. Is it Nika or is it NECA? Is it Nika? No, only fucking baldy fucks calls it Nika. NECA, I believe, is also doing a Turtles Garfield crossover. Why? I don't know. Do we need two companies doing a Turtles Garfield crossover? But so here we have Odie with a shell on his head with his tongue. Lots of pizza, which really works out. Like the pizza there really works out great for Garfield, because if I remember correctly, he's just a fat, lazy cat, right? And all he wants to do is eat. I thought didn't Heathcliff also want to eat all the time? I know Garfield always did. But anyway, this was weird because I had to determine if this was a digital render. It's not. It's the actual figure, and you can see the line cut out on the backdrop, and it makes it look like it's a digital figure, but it's not. It looks really weird. Yes, Lenny hates Nika. I don't hate Nika at all. I hate the fact that Nika stopped making gargoyles and just like it just ended. Heathcliff was high all the time. Was he? Garfield was lasagna. Oh, that is right. He was all about lasagna, wasn't he? So here they are. Again, you can see them all. I kind of forgot to put these together. I forgot to put them in order, but that shit happens. You know why that happens? Because of this.
I don't go through all the graphics before the show.
It's a lot to go through. Anyway, there you go. So if you need Turtles and Garfield crossover, and maybe this was like the one thing you're like, this, once Garfield Turtles crossover comes, I can be done with toys. I can be done with my collecting. Well, you got your wish. I doubt anyone is saying that, but hey, you never know. So there you go. Odie seems pretty blah. And Tony, I'm kind of with you. Like, I think a plan, and I don't know. I think they have a plan Garfield somewhere. I think they've done it. I think we've covered it before, to be honest. So you can see the tongue can actually move. Wiggling tongue articulation. So here's everything that he does come with. And I'm assuming this is a 2-pack, because if it's not, Odie is really, really useless. So there you go. That's Boss Fight Studios. Again, not very much. And Gun Bunny jumping in here. Gun Bunny, you've probably seen it now. And if you did, I haven't been able to check it. You probably messaged me. Matter of fact, let me see here. Nope. I did message you about some stuff. So check that out later on and get back with me tonight or tomorrow. So, whew. Viper Scott asked, where's the Garfield Motu crossover? Give it time. Now that one actually kind of would work, don't you think? And I feel like that would work. Give me 1 second. I got a nice itch right now. All right, Ed, I hope you're here. At least Ed, my moderator, Ed. Not Ed Viper Scout Ed. All right. Sorry. You guys get to watch because there's no one else to talk. Hella Geek jumping in and saying, "What's up, peeps?" All right. Action Figs. I saw this. And I put this in just for you. Loose Collector. I literally put this in right before I took my nap and woke up crazy. So, I can just kind of play this right now.
I don't go through all the graphics before the show.
So I believe Loose Collector talked about that this would be that they had one more monster coming. So they were going to have their trio. So you have Bigfoot, Yeti, and I don't know who this is. But anyway, here you go. And this guy does look very menacing. It is the Skokum. So it is the scrotum of loose. It is the scrotum of Loose Collectors. Tony, you are the only Sasquatch figure that we need. This thing does look awesome. This shot is amazing. So if you're able to get it in poses like this, I think people are going to be really happy with it. This Loose Collector stuff, I know people have been really excited for. But it features 34 points of articulation, 10 inches tall, 2 heads. I can't read everything there. 2 fists, 2 open hands, and 2 claw hands. It's kind of weird because the YouTube page that I have is actually bigger, so I can actually read it. That's why you see me looking over here. But I know people are going to be excited for this. Ed, are you getting this? Are you getting this? So, but it does look good. I mean, again, the stuff that they're doing is really nice. And there is, I think it's easy to say, there's a huge run on monster stuff right now. Going all the way from Operation Monster Force to clearly, stuff like this with the Yeti, the Sasquatch, the Scrotum, or what is he? The Skokum. We're just going with Scrotum. It's a lot easier. Ed has all 3 on pre-order. You are a degenerate with your money. Because I know you have all the Operation Monster Force and everything Fresh Monkey Fiction. But yeah, these look good. And I don't know. I guess it's something that I could probably go for. Maybe just get one. But I think I'll wait and see. I think these run like, what's the price point on these? Action. What was the price point on this? I think they were like in the 90s. So, but again, they look cool. And if you start doing all kinds of stuff and 110. Okay. So I said 90. 90 is better than 110, but hey, you got to pay what they're going to charge you. And Ed says, "Hey Lenny, don't tell me what to do with my money." You know what? My bad. You know what? You are absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. I was wrong. I should not have done that. I apologize right now. People, please spend your money on what you deem is worth it. I don't ever want to be telling you how you should or shouldn't spend your money. So here is the Skokum. There's a little story about him. It is too blurry for me to read. It's also too long, so I'm not about to, because you guys have heard me read. Reading is not my forte. So there you go. And that's it. This is from the crypt. And Derek Holloman says, "Tell him, Ed, tired of Leroy's audacity." I feel like people have called me Leroy before too. But Lenny's actually happened a couple times, which I don't understand, because Larry sounds nothing like Lenny. And Lawrence definitely does not. Anyway, there you go. That is the Skokum or the scrotum, whatever you want to call. So, whew. All right. There's a lot of good comments today. I will say this. I know when people sit there and say, you know what? I know a few people said earlier, hey, you know, don't let this guy get you mad or what. I wouldn't bring shit up like this if it made me mad. I also wouldn't be sitting up here doing this if I couldn't take the ribbing. I was actually talking to Ed on the phone, Action Face, Saturday, and I go, there's people that probably tune in. There's people that probably tune in that are like, what the fuck, man? Why does this guy have this guy as his moderator? Why does he put up with so much shit? They talk to him and treat him like crap. You know? And again, I guess if you were just tuning in and didn't, I think that you're going to see my banter and understand how that is. But I think if a lot of people read a lot of stuff that Ed says to me, you'd be like, holy shit. Again, you guys probably hear some of the stuff we say towards Matthew being right all the time. And you're probably like, wow, why does Matthew put up with that shit? Well, because Matthew's right. That's why he puts up with it. He just tells us you guys are wrong. Anyway, so the only thing left that I have to talk about is G.I. Joe. And before today, there was very, very, very little. So Super 7 dropped this hideous thing. In so many ways, this thing is hideous. But I know there are people that want it. And again, it's not so much that it is Python Patrol. I just think it doesn't look really good. And with Super 7, again, you guys know my feelings on it. But this is, I believe, a Super 7 exclusive. So you can only get it from the Super 7 store. Yeah, Gun Bunny says, I love that figure. I know you do. Matthew says, I never say you are wrong. I just state the facts. Sometimes. Rat and I'm jumping in here saying Leisure Suit Commander. It does look more like a leisure suit than Python. And then we have G.I. Jetman jumping in here saying, what's up, Lawrence? And chat. And look at this. Rick D says that thing is atrocious. Oh boy. Rick D's and Gun Bunny might be going at it later on. I think one of the coolest things about Gun Bunny, like seriously, I think one of the coolest things is that you're like, dude, I fucking love Python Patrol and Tiger Force. I think it's absolutely awesome. I don't need it. You know, I mean, and again, I don't think it's awful. I think Classified's done a really good job. But I think it's awesome how much you are so into it that you're like, I need to order 2 so I can customize one. And the fact that your custom shit does not look like it's custom. It looks like that's how it came out the package. So Jeremy Kimberlin jumping in here saying, give me this in Classified or not. Wait. Is this Leisure Suit Larry? G.I. Joe collab we've all been waiting for. I do know that. I do know Leisure Suit Larry. Well, I know the term. So anyway, now I believe this is a Super 7 store exclusive. What that means is just wait and BBTS will get it. All right. Don't pay their atrocious shipping and handling because they will nail you. Wait till BBTS gets it and just throw it all in there. Rick, oh no, dude, believe me, yeah, his customs are second to none. And I'm not saying there aren't people that don't do just as good as he does, but his are second to none. And I mean, everything that I've seen when he puts that stuff out, it just looks amazing. So anyway, here's the file cut. And I will give Super 7 credit. They do the back of these figures proper. in my personal opinion. You have Cobra Commander, you have the actual file card. It's on the bottom. Now they should still also put multiple figures, but they've done that in the past, so theirs do look a little bit better. But again, this is the one thing that they do proper. And we have Tony's Figs, who just gifted 5 Punk with Toy memberships, and that went to Sean Forrester, Derek Hoover, uh, Jamie Benson, J Solo Arts, and Mike Gold. And you know what? That is awesome because Derek Hoover is actually going to be a guest on Thursday with a Friend next month. I just haven't figured out what date yet. I keep saying I'm going to figure it out, and I don't. I need to go through and get everyone situated for next month. I have all the people that I need. Hella Geek says people can like what they like, but I question why doesn't the Python pattern go all the way down his pants? He's not wearing boots over his shins. That's still his pants down the yellow shoes. You, sir, are correct. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's like some of the logical questions we try and ask with like TV shows and 80s TV movies. Why do we do this? And Derek Hoover quickly says, Lawrence, wifey will be looking to see what Thursdays she has board meetings. We'll lock it in soon. Yeah, I haven't even sent you out one. I mean, I talked to you about it. Board meetings. Come on, you just send your kids to bed a little early. Say, get to bed. If you have kids, I don't know. Anyway, so there's your Cobra Commander, and there's what he looks like in the package. I think everyone has pretty much seen this figure already, at least the solicitations. And I know they've already been in hand. Again, I'm not a fan of what Super 7 is doing. I'm a fan of what they do. I'm not a fan of how they're presenting it. These figures could be so much better and should be so much better because much smaller companies, Delta 17, they have already given them the blueprint. And that's what they should have done. But hey, all right. On to a little classified news. Now, we kind of knew that this was going to happen. Oh, sorry. There's the figure again. There's just something about him that doesn't look right. There's something that doesn't look right. And now I can't see how the stripes don't go all the way down. It says we have kids, but she's very important, wheeling and dealing and such. Yeah, I just know that the 3 people that of everyone that I have, there's certain days they can't do it, and there's one that's already locked in. So either way, I'm gonna have you on. We'll figure it out. All right, here's Cobra Commander, the enemy leader. You can read through it. He likes power. All right. So this was hinted at not only in the beginning of the HasLab campaign, but this was also hinted at. I think this was after Emily yelled at Travis, or maybe before Emily yelled at Travis. I don't know. It was sometime either before or after she yelled at Travis. But it sounds like we will be getting an Arctic Hiss. And Cobra Commander says this. Now, the reason why this has kind of come to light today is because Hasbro Pulse Instagram posted like a minute clip of what Cobra Commander was saying that he's not taking this very well. And so the Arctic Hiss is, what they're focusing on. Now, I think this might be a good way to appease people. And what I mean by that is, if you take the turret away and you give it, let's say, rockets like this, but you also make it so that turret, you could still drop the Hiss turret in there if you have one of the HasLabs. I think this might appease a lot of people because then people can kind of customize their own thing. People can also, I guess, part their HasLab Hiss off if need be too. And same time, Tori's jumping in here saying he's got dish gloves on. He's talking about Cobra Commander. Yes, he does. And John Battle is jumping in here saying, "What's up, Lawrence? How's your night? How's your night going?" It's great. It's great. I don't have much. I'm not gonna make it 3 hours today, guys. That's okay, because you'll probably get an hour and a half, 2 hours tomorrow. Anyway, I do think that looking at this, there's a lot of things that they can do. But again, now it was hinted, it was mentioned to me that there might be another version of the Hiss coming before the HasLab. And I don't know if that means that this has kind of been, if that one was scrapped, or maybe they kind of leaked that so they know, like, hey, this is how many people we've leaked this to. We want to find out if it's, if things are being leaked. But this is pretty much, Emily said, hey, this is coming. You just have to read into the hints. So there is more Arctic stuff coming. And there was a reason why Emily was very adamant when the whole HasLab thing came up, and they said there is a steadfast rule that after 3 years, stuff from the HasLab can be redone. It can never be the exact same. So that means you want a regular snowcat, you ain't gonna get it. You're right. I can't do it. I'll be doing 36 hours soon. I will still be doing more than 3 hours in a 24-hour period, though. Think of it like that. How about that? But there's a reason why she said that. And again, it also goes back to that Mephisto that made the order. It's been 3 years since the Engine of Vengeance failed. So, and she did say there are some things that cannot be done contractually, and it's probably stuff with Star Wars, to be honest. There might be some stuff with Marvel, but I don't think the Marvel group has as many restrictions as Lucasfilm. They seem to be way more like, hey, we need this, we want this, just in my opinion. But anyway, I think something like this could be done. Again, when you start looking at what they made with the Hiss, you have the missile launchers that can go on it. You can turn that into, let's say, a paramedic station where you have your gurneys that kind of plug into it so they can take. Now, again, I don't know if that's how you want to be taken in the Arctic freezing. But again, I think this would look pretty cool. But let's say you put, and I hope they would modify it, but if you put a Stinger, like a Stinger rack on it, just as long, and not the rack, but the Stinger missile rack, as long as you mount it, man, everything's coming off wrong. I guess I should just drop the.
That's what she said.
But I think there's a lot of different things that can be done, and of course you're going to get some sort of driver. I think a white Hiss tank driver would be awesome, or Hiss driver. But yeah, looking at this again, they have all the stuff there. It's all set up there. I mean, everything is set up there. Now, I have a feeling this would be about $150 price point. I can't imagine the Hiss. I can't imagine them finding a way to get the Hiss to be $100. I know there are people that will say, hey, you know what? They're a $1 billion company. They can eat it, but that's not how they became a $1 billion one. Is it? It might be. It might be. I don't know. He doesn't have to be white. I just think that white in the snow would be better. Baldy says the Arctic hiss comes with your spouse's cold shoulder after getting another Cobra tank. It's not a tank. All right, we've already addressed this. It's not a tank. It's nothing like a tank. It's just a treaded vehicle. It's also a toy. 3-star says Arctic hiss will come with a white hooded Cobra Commander. Oh, people right now are already thinking a white Cobra Commander. They can just go buy that the Black Series Snow Trooper, and they have exactly what they wanted. But anyway, here's kind of what it looks like. Now they did drop this. I think it's a safe bet that this is that we will be getting this. See, even Matthew says right here, Baldy is not a tank. There's a whole video about it and everything. What a tank is. He also dropped hints about a saw viper, an Arctic saw viper. Let's be honest. This figure will be done to death. They have to do retooling. I hope it comes with a pine tree, so you can cut it down. That would be pretty cool. That's called branding, marketing. Again, and I gotta say, when you look at this figure, you're like, yeah, I can fully see this being painted white. It actually works. I mean, it actually looks like that would fit. Does it not? I mean, all in white here. They probably changed some of the weapons. We've already seen the Arctic bat, so you already kind of know what color schemes they're going to use. What you could do up here on the plate carrier with the gray and the black and stuff like that. So I think that I think this would work out pretty well and look pretty good. Jeremy says, reading the G.I. Joe Compendium, 1, it's a hiss tank and referred to as such multiple times in multiple issues by multiple characters. Hey, I'm just telling you, there's a video done and I go by the video. Ronnie Trickshot says, what side of the hiss tank do I put the samurai sword on? Asking for a friend. Matthew, would you like to answer him? This is why this chat is the best chat in all of our community. Honest to God. It doesn't take long for people to figure out the inside jokes. And if you don't know that inside joke, Matthew is not happy that the samurai swords are on the wrong side. Samurais are not left-handed. They do not carry swords on the right side. They're always on the left. Again, that is why this is the best community. You guys in the chat are awesome. Just Plain Yogurt says that Arctic Hiss has the same drawback as the Snowcat. You shoot off the missiles, then what? Well, you know what? What if the Arctic Hiss has the missile rack, but also comes with the same rack that came on the Vamp? How about that? Think about that, huh? Yeah. There's a lot of Joe vehicles when you think about it. There's the Stinger. There's the Vamp Mark II. The Snowcat. The Wolverine. There's a lot of drawbacks on the G.I. Joe vehicles. Let's quickly take a look at the Cobra Stun. You have a driver that's completely exposed and 2 gunners that are super exposed. Although they can split it up so they can fire to the side, right? I've mentioned the Havoc numerous times. You have a gunner that a sniper is like, this is my dream. So, yes, there's a lot of issues. But now that you mention it, there's a lot of Joe vehicles that have a bunch of missiles, and once you're done, well, then you're done. Izzy Trevi jumping in here saying, imagine walking through the snow with the gear. But think of it like this. I know you think that's rough, but you're on snow. So the impact on your knees isn't as bad because the snow gives, right? Think positive. Think positive. Viper Scout says samurais aren't real. He's about to start a fight with Matthew. As a Viper Scout, they were. Ninjas never were. One day I need to just sit here and just read through everything. The week in Hearthstone says Stinger is now 78 on Amazon, and I want one. They are 75 at Walmart, and that is the reason why. Well, I'm guessing that's the reason why. Yeah, so if you find them at Walmart, and they won't be hard to find because they're the ones that won't be sold out right away. They are 75, which I can only imagine is pissing off guys like Sergeant Reds and stuff like that. Because let's be honest, it kind of sucks, and all the people that bought them. But that's why you're going to find them for that much. And I have a feeling they might go down even further. I think Hasbro kind of gave it to them because they wanted that. So, Shark Guys jumping in here saying, I'm late, Punk. Long flight home from the Sex Toy Lubra expedition I was attending as a vendor. Well, I'm glad you're here now. This week says, thank you all. Gonna resist the urge for a bit longer. I will say this. The Stinger and the Vamp are both excellent vehicles. They are worth the $100. They really are. They are worth the $100, no doubt about it. Payne's Toy Samples jumping in and saying, hey kids, stopping in. Great to see you, Payne. Hope everything is well with you. And Derek Hoover says, let's see here. Sleepy time medicine kicking in nicely. So I say nighty night all. Have a great week. All right. I did it to myself. All right. And Tripwire says, I think the Stinger was on Amazon for 69 a few weeks ago. Yeah, it drops all the time. All the time. So anyway, Cobra Commander didn't mention this. And let's be honest, after that, we're definitely going to get an Arctic Cobra Commander. Now, I only throw this in here because this is the one that we have seen. Actually, I have an Arctic Cobra Commander in 4-inch form. And, well, Classified will do much better than this. But let's be honest. That new Flint Buck, the Arctic one, it is going to get reused an awful lot. Because there's not going to be a huge reason to change the upper torso. You're going to probably have Duke in it. They were in the Arctic a lot more than people tend to remember. They went in the snow a lot. That's why the Snowcat has become so iconic. It was used a good amount in the cartoon. So, you're looking at this here. Maybe they'll do a modified version of it, but I think we're going to get Destro. We'll get the Baroness. There are so many Arctic troopers, and as someone who has been very vocal about saying, I think snow troopers and anything Arctic related is a gamble due to people living in warm weather climates year round, and I've taken some shit for it. And again, it's just not my opinion, just me wondering, because I don't live there. I lived in snow and cold. The more you add, the more you can create that snow. And the one thing that Emily also mentioned, and I think it was the last day, that Instagram live that they did, getting fake snow off Amazon, which definitely made me go, ooh, I never thought about that. And they do sell fake snow on Amazon, so there probably will be a diorama with some fake snow. You just have to find a way to block it so it doesn't fall off onto the ground. But yeah, I think we're definitely going to be getting a Arctic Cobra Commander. I mean, you kind of have to. I mean, there's so many Cobra Commanders, but he's got to be in charge. I'd say Destro's got to be coming soon, right? They got to be coming with a new Destro sooner or later. They haven't redone Destro. He was in Pimp Daddy Destro. The original Destro, which is still a good figure. And then they did the retro, and that retro is like 3 years old now, at least. So it's time for a new Destro, and I think we're going to get that Iron Grenadier soon. But again, once this Arctic stuff starts coming, and I think we'll probably get a polar bear. And if they do a polar bear, they're going to do a Cobra version of it. Which I think a blue snowmobile would look absolutely awesome. Just saying that. Fatrid jumping in with the member for 17 months saying Cobra Commander with a front butt. And you get a
Fucking Phil Collins.
Poor Phil Collins. The guy does nothing but create awesome music, whether it's Phil Collins or Genesis. And then he has my daughters just saying fucking Phil Collins. Toy Matrix says the Arctic Coco looks like a pretty easy custom. Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. I think a lot of these figures are actually easy customs, but a lot of people don't want to do that. And again, G.I. Joe or Hasbro has every reason to be like, you know what, we can do this for you. Nowhere Man-Child saying Iron Grenadier's Destro will look tremendous. I believe it or not, I have never had an Iron Grenadier Destro. Not no ring or nothing. And again, it was like it was me getting out of G.I. Joe, even though I had the Iron Grenadiers, but he came with the vehicle and it was a higher price point as a kid. Then you're like in 8th grade and you're trying to hide that you were doing it anyway. I've never went and got one. So, and I've always thought it looked awesome because I think capes are awesome. Unlike Edna from The Incredibles, no capes. I disagree. I love capes. There's something cool in media when you see like a cape flowing with Batman, like Batman without a cape. I mean, I think Batman Beyond is awesome, but Batman with a cape, there's just something super, super cool about it. But I will say this, if they do drop an Iron Grenadier Destro, kind of not forces me, but kind of inspires me to go get one. Just so I can review them together. So that's another nice thing about some of these newer classified. It makes me go out and look for the O-ring version, or Johnny just sends them to me, which I appreciate more than he realizes. But anyway, that's kind of like what we're going to be getting right now. And that's the end of my slides. 133 people watching right now, so please hit that like button. I want to quickly see 140 votes, but 73 140 wait, where's 141 votes. Do you hate watch my channel? 28% of you do. You guys are glutton for punishment. But only 73 likes. Makes no sense. But anyway, I appreciate it. All right, let's remove this. And then I'm going to quickly take a breather. But once again, my moderator, who I am waiting for a new commercial so he can actually talk about what their actual name of their show is. Well, here you go.
Idiots! Incompetent buffoons! What is it now, Commander? Consummate morons, incapable of coherent thought! Are you watching that show again? Yes. Why didn't you just watch Pop Blender and Matthew's discussions, news, reviews before the show came out? Whether you agree or disagree, the perspectives provide enough context to know if the show or movie is worth your time or not. Yes, I know. I will not miss another Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central on Pop Blender's channel. Be more than once a man by watching Pop Blender and Matthew talk about pop culture news, discussions, and reviews on Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. And now you know. Televiper, be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe so we do not miss another episode. And hit that bell notification.
Oh, hey guys, what's going on?
Mossman, what are you doing back here?
Oh, you see, so Skeletor, he had to go to the grocery store. He had to go buy more barbecue Pringle chips. And so he's put me in charge here for a little bit. In charge of y'all. He said, man, Mossman, I have to go to the grocery store, so I need to put you in charge of Snake Mountain. Ha 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 ha.
Yes, that's Skeletor. That's Skeletor, right.
Skeletor said since I was in charge, I could use the credit card and maybe go online and buy some action figures for myself.
Oh, some action figures sound kind of nice. Yes, maybe we can go to Big Ben.
Yeah, Beastman, we don't say that around here. We go to helldopetoys.com. They have the best prices in town, and they ship everything in one business day. One business day, Beastman. That means I buy it, and it comes to my house super fast, and they pack it all real nice. So when I go to do my YouTube reviews for my 5 subscribers, I'll be like, oh, look at this minty fresh package box that I got from helldopetoys.com. So what are we waiting for, y'all? Let's go get that credit card and head on over to helldopetoys.com right now before they run out of all the good stuff.
Punishment. Dude, what is this? Is this Tony's second account? One Pouch Man? No way. Everyone but Tony loves Mossman. Right? Right, Mossman? Oh no, who doesn't like me? There's another one other than Tony. Look at me. Tony doesn't ride a polar bear, does he? I don't do Mossman nearly as good as Ted. This is Ted's voice. Anyway, please, 131 people watching. I always ask, hit subscribe, hit the like button if you haven't. But more than anything, did you guys wish this guy a big happy birthday? So say happy birthday to Darren. 3-star draw. And go over and give his channel a like. He started with 500. There's 504 subscribers now. So we bumped him up over 500. So he shouldn't have to worry about going below that. And then the other thing, just to get it all cleared up, mention it I'll mention at the end of the show. 126 people watching right now. Tomorrow, for the Circle of Jerks, it will no longer be on my channel. It will be solely on Baldylocks Reviews. Same Jerks time, same Jerks assholes, but only on one Jerks channel, and that is right here. So please click on the button, hit the remind me, subscribe to Baldylocks Reviews, so you do remember. Again, my biggest fear right now is 75% of the people watch the show on my channel, but this is really Baldy's brainchild. So we don't want to change anything. We just want everyone doing the same thing that we have going on right here, right? We want everybody to be able to see the chat, what's going on, and unfortunately, we're the only one that can see it when it's simulcast. So please head on over there, hit the like button, that subscribe button, and the remind me so you are reminded, because and I can see that his numbers actually jumped. So some of you guys have subscribed. We're going to have a blast no matter what. Anyway, let's get a little bit into the topic. And that is, has the crowdfunding has it run its course? Because I know there's a lot of people that feel that they shouldn't do this. And they feel Mattel shouldn't do it. They feel Hasbro shouldn't do it. There's a lot of people that do crowdfunds. And that's how a lot of these smaller companies have things done. And then there's smaller companies. AWalk, AWalk has done it, where they are they're an established company, but they do a crowdfunding for when they do new waves. And I guess it's not crowdfunding what the Four Horsemen do, but the Four Horsemen they are gonna make it, but they do ask that you back it or purchase it, shall I say, and you get a smaller cut. And then there's companies like Valaverse, who he did it to begin with, and now he takes on the tooling of his own cost. Now you pre-order it, but that usually means that it's already being done. But the crowdfund is something that is a sore spot for a lot of people. And I'm just wondering if you think that maybe, it's run its course. All right. This campaign with the Snowcat has been, it's been pretty hostile. When you look at what's been going on. And that's because people think, you know what, they shouldn't crowdfund anything. And if they do, it's supposed to be a dream project. You go ahead and you look at what Mattel is doing with this. What are they doing? Not Snake Mountain. They've already done Snake Mountain. What's the Mattel crowdfund? And it's like $300. And I don't think you get much more than you got with Castle Grayskull, which was $85. It's going to be a much smaller run, and they probably don't want to see it clearance down to $15. And yes, I believe those Castle Grayskulls were marked down to like $15 at Targets for a bit. Hello, Geeks. Snake Layer. Thank you very much, Toy Matrix. So the question is, has it come to an end, or has it run its course? Now, personally, I have no problem with it. I know there's a lot of people that say, Hasbro shouldn't do it. Whether I agree with that or not, I understand the reasons why they do it. They want to give you a bigger product, but they also don't want to take it on the chin. And again, it's not our job to look at if they take something on the chin, right? They're $1 billion company. That's how people look at it. But again, if they continue to do it and they make stuff and then it has to go on clearance, once again, we'll mention the Black Series, the TIE Fighter, which was enormous. And people say, well, that was from the movies people didn't care about. But the Snowspeeder, which is what people will consider to be most people consider that to be the best Star Wars movie, Empire Strikes Back. That thing was they couldn't give it away, and it's an awesome vehicle. It's an awesome vehicle. So Hasbro doesn't want to lose out on it. So you have this crowdfunding, but I don't think that starting the Star Wars one, while the Joe one was going, was very good. I don't think that was very smart. Now, they can't look at everything else. They can't worry about that Mezco drops a $325 vehicle at the same time, which is not crowdfunded. They can't worry that the Snake Layer dropped, and that's $300. They can look at it and say, why did we drop a Star Wars HasLab while this was still going on? That is something that is in their control. It's something they should really think about. You thought they would have learned their lesson with the Sky Striker and all that other stuff. But Clinton Jorgensen says, wonder where Punk will put his Snake Layer. Nowhere, because I don't buy it. Matt O'Brien says, personally, I don't mind. I could see a universe where they front the money for tooling, a project flops, and then they raise prices on the entire line to make up for it. I don't want that either. And that is a concern right there. And again, people will say, that's not my concern. And you're right, it's not your concern. but it is their concern. And whether or not you don't have to agree with it. And I'm not saying people don't have to agree with it, but what you do have to look at is say, hey, you know what? If I'm running a company, I also don't want to lose money on this. I don't want to pay for all this tooling only to have it clearanced out. Now, again, we've talked about when things get clearanced out, it sends a message to retail. Hey, people don't want this. So they're not going to buy as much, which that sends a message to the manufacturer. Well, maybe this line isn't as popular as we thought it was, or maybe they're just not willing to spend stuff like this. I heard people complaining today that they need to lower the price of vehicles. I read yesterday how Hasbro needs to do a better job making vehicles. Like, look at this ramen van. Do you realize that if Hasbro dropped a plain old van, people would go, what does this have? What is this connected to? It means nothing. And if you put no detail into it, and I'm not saying ramen doesn't, but they also don't there's not a lot of detail put into that van. There's minimum detail. People will lose their shit. Hella Geek says, I think the big companies may reconsider crowdfunding for certain brands that don't have a good track record. I think G.I. Joe is safe with HasLab in spite of the slow pace of the Snowcat. I agree and disagree, if that makes sense with you. I agree that they have a good track record, but we also saw what happened with the Stingers. I personally believe, every time I say I personally believe, I feel like Miss South Carolina, if you've ever seen or heard that clip, I personally believe that some of us in America don't have maps. And just go look it up. Miss Teen South Carolina, I think it is. It'll populate pretty quickly. But I think that's the reason why these Stingers are $75. They have an abundance of them. And they did this display. They pay for the space, and I think they gave Walmart, hey, we want you to take this. It's a sweetheart deal. These are big vehicles. We want to get rid of them. That's why they're $25 less than what they initially were. But yeah. Johnny Reno says Return of the Jedi is the best movie because biker scouts, scout troopers fight me. Hey, I'm with you. Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie, but I think most people would say that Empire is. And then quickly, we have one of these.
Here comes the money. Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money.
War Chest full of toys with a $5 super chat. And I should always read War Chest's comments before I read them out loud, but I didn't. Don't get me wrong. The other HasLabs are amazing. But after getting the Rattler, it feels like the first true HasLab. That thing is an absolute beast. That wasn't even bad. The Rattler is. If you don't have the Rattler yet, let me just tell you, it is a space hog. All right. I don't know what else to say. It looks amazing. It's a hard toy for people to play with. I'll just say that, or to even display. MCR says Ewoks are the stuff of nightmares. So what you're saying is you don't want a HasLab Ewok village in 6-inch form. All right. Quickly, we have William Husted. I prefer to have steerable front wheels. Well, you will have wheels that turn on it, but they are not going to be controlled from the they won't be controlled from the steering wheel. And I can tell you there's really no reason to. Evaliverse tried doing that with the Vanguard. There's so little turn that it doesn't even matter. I like the idea that they have the wheels that turn. I kind of don't like it because I did like taking my Vamp and Stinger out to the big hill and racing them. I won't be able to do that with the All-Striker, and you can't do that with anything that has turnable. Now, again, the Snowcat won't matter because it's on treads. That you can't really race that down a hill. Transporter A jumping in here says, "You have a point. You have a point. I live in Connecticut, and every Walmart I went to said they will not carry G.I. Joe because it doesn't sell for them." It's not exactly true. This display that they're doing, this is a Hasbro promotion. So if they get the display, they're going to have this. It's going to be pushed out in front of them. And the hope is to get more people into G.I. Joe, and obviously all the Hasbro stuff. So something like this, you are going to see. Now, will it stay afterwards? That's a whole nother story, because what they're getting is they're getting Stingers, Crystal Ball, and Night Force. They got Law and Order. They're getting a bunch of the Cobra Troopers, and I think that's by design. Give them Army Builders. And then they're obviously going to be getting a bunch of the other retro carded figures. And Tony says, "I never got a welcome to the creamery for my 5 months." You are absolutely correct, Tony. So here you go.
Welcome to the creamery. Welcome to the creamery. Welcome to the creamery. Welcome to the creamery. Welcome to the creamery.
Fucking Phil Collins.
And because Tony did that, he also gets...
Oh, hey guys, it's Mossman again.
And Dopey.
No, you're not part of this one.
Okay.
Anyway, welcome back to the Pumpkin Toys for Tots Streamathon. So this is going on from October 25th through October 27th, which is streaming non-stop. So we've made a whole bunch of money so far to donate for Toys for Tots, but we can still keep going. We still got some time left. So if you want to participate, you can send a super chat or a super sticker, or maybe even consider becoming a channel member. And all that money, Lawrence is going to take that and go to this really cool toy store, Sergeant Red's. He's going to buy toys, and all that's going to get donated for Toys for Tots. But anyway, we still got a whole bunch of really awesome content coming from a lot of great content creators. So let's get back to the show.
And what just says, the Rattler has wheels, race the vamp, and the Rattler down the hill. I don't think I'm going to be doing that. But you are correct. It does have wheel. I actually brought the Rattler down, and my daughter was watching TV when I brought it downstairs. And I have hardwood floors, so I landed it, and she was just looking at me like, "You're an idiot." And she's probably correct. She probably is correct. So Heli Geek says it's actually a Hasbro and Mattel display. Well, it's Mattel on the backside. You are correct. The other side of the shelf is loaded with a Monster High, Motu, Hot Wheels. It is, but no one's looking at that side. That sounds awful, but like, I haven't seen anyone excited about the other side. Allison here, member for 27 months. Tony loves attention, but hates diversity.
Fucking Phil Collins.
Fucking Tony Romo. And then Eric Thurman, member for 16 months. So you also get a...
Fucking Phil Collins.
All right. Action Fig says it's actually a Hasbro Mattel promotion. It was a Walmart decision to try and capitalize on the adult collectors they've alienated in the past few years. And you know what? Then that's good. That's good on them, and it's good on Mattel and Hasbro to be like, hey, you know what? Let's figure something out. Let's work together. And I'm glad they're doing it. So, but I also don't think that, again, that's the only big thing there. You notice we still haven't seen any big vehicles from Star Wars, and we haven't seen Mattel or Marvel try and make any type of big vehicles either. Matt O'Brien, member for 25 months, so you get a...
Fucking Phil Collins.
One day his manager will fucking message me and be like, "What is this about?" And he'll be like, he wants to come on Thursday with a friend and have it out with you. And I'm going to be like, any Thursday. Phil Collins, he bumps any Thursday with a friend other than the actual Patrick Stewart if he ever wants to show up. Sir Patrick Stewart, if he ever wants to show up, he gets top billing no matter what. Even over Patrick, not Picard Stewart. Quickly, Crackmaster says, any of you big dogs going to come to Codename Iowa event, my neck of the woods? I will be there as of right now, unless there's something drastic happens. I am going. I don't know if anyone else is. I know Sherlock is going to be there. He's actually the one who messaged me right away. He's like, here you go. Like, all right, dude. All right. I'm okay. I'll be there. I'll go. I'm looking forward to it. I really am, because I heard it's a really good show. And I hear it's a really good show. And the other guy that I do a show with, the TV Terminal, cheap plug right here, he lives like right down the street. So I'll be able to kind of meet up with him for the first time in real life. And like, I just dropped a link to it. That's how good I am with this stuff. The Crackmaster says, awesome. Hoping to meet some of you guys. I feel so alone in my collecting. You know what? And Crackmaster, that's what makes this whole YouTube journey so good. You don't have to leave your house. You don't have to go look for people. Technically, you don't have to interact with people unless you do a whole bunch of live streams with people like I do tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Baldy Locks channel, Circle of Jerks. Anyway, I'm getting pretty good at this plug stuff. Anyway, back to the topic. So I think people are kind of burnt out a little bit when it comes to this crowdfunding. There's no doubt about it. I don't have a problem with it, but I'm also not backing a lot of stuff. I also think when it comes to G.I. Joe, and I know Tony is finally on board with me on this. I don't know if Tony ever wasn't not on board, but he said the same thing. He said, I keep saying it. Like, I think G.I. Joe collectors are just that, G.I. Joe collectors. They're not toy collectors. So the fact that they're backing like one HasLab and no other crowdfunders, right? It's something almost like they shouldn't even worry too much about it. Now, again, I know that's $300 or whatever it's going to cost, $250, whatever it comes out to. It's expensive, right? It is one of those things. It eats at you because you're waiting so long. But this is a way that we get big vehicles. This is the way we get. Hopefully we'll get dioramas. I've told you I would love to see a Terradrome that is a half a Terradrome, so you could like put it against the wall, and then they have like a sticker sheet that you can put on the wall, right? Like a sticker cling, so you can put like half of it against the wall, so it doesn't take up as much space. But if you back two of them, they're meant to connect together, and you're going to get a fire bat with it no matter. Like, again, like that is something you could do. I love to see a diorama like that. But I think that could be a good crowdfund, and it'd be a dream project. A 6-inch Terradrome. If Plastic Fantastic was here, he could tell you just exactly how big one is, because he has a 3D printed one. It's massive. It's massive.
Here comes the money. Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money.
Matt O'Brien with the $5 super chat saying, talking crowdfunding, are you thinking Moray, Thunder Machine, or something else for the next year? If Moray, what would you like to see for the figures? It will not be the Moray. Right now, Darren got his birthday chub on by reading this. By hearing someone say the Moray. It won't be the Moray, and this is the reason why I say it won't be the Moray. And I could be completely wrong. And that is because the G.I. Joe doesn't have anything to take on the Moray in the water. Where the hovercraft, the whale, they could do the water moccasin, which is way more iconic than the Moray. Where G.I. Joe really only has the devilfish. So I don't think they would do that. Just my personal opinion, because you need something that complements the other one. But right now, Darren has a total birthday chubby because he got to read this. I think it's going to be, but again, I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be the Thunder Machine. They have to get the Thunder Machine out there. It is one of the last. There's a lot of iconic vehicles, but that is so specific. And I do think with the Thunder Machine, I've talked about this before. I think what you could do is you could give it a classic look, but also have a front end that looks like a Dodge Challenger. And you have a different engine and you have different guns. So if you buy two, you can create a whole different machine. It wouldn't be the Thunder Machine, it'd be the Lightning Machine or whatever, right? Lightning McQueen, I don't care. Something like that. That's why I think that actually works perfect. And obviously you'd get, Thrasher with it. And then there's other dreadnoughts that aren't main dreadnoughts that you could do. Ellison says, I only back Motu crowdfunds and indie creator toys. If HasLab does a Death Star for 2027, I'm in. Otherwise, I'm happy with my vintage Star Wars stuff from the 80s and 90s. Again, that's kind of what. See, I think this is why G.I. Joe, this is why the Sky Striker wasn't as successful as these other things, is that iteration has been done numerous times. When now we're talking about, we're going into 6-inch vehicles, 6-inch stuff, where somehow Hasbro is still in Star Wars Hasbro. That's the one that actually works. It's kind of like, hey, we could have had this type of stuff before. Now, a lot of people feel that this lat wasn't good. And I think the worst thing was showing the size comparison to what you already have. Okay, Nowhere Man brings up something we didn't even touch on. I'm sorry, Nowhere Man Child. Space is still the bigger barrier. No space means no deal. So no big HasLabs for me. And I think this is a problem. And not okay. I want to choose my wording right so someone doesn't tell me that I said something. Okay, so I know there are some people that will buy anything, and I'm one of them. I'm one of them. One of the biggest issues with the HasLabs, in my opinion, is that people want the whale. Now it's bigger. But just think about this. Going forward, if you back them all, you have the Dragonfly, which is large, the Rattler, which is huge, and then you have the Hiss, all right, which is pretty big. Then now you're going to have the Snowcat that takes up a lot of space, more than the Hiss. And let's say you have the Stinger, you get in the Allstriker, you got a Vamp, and then you have a bunch of little vehicles. Where do you put a Thunder Machine? Where do you put the Whale? Right? There's so many different issues that now when people look at that, and that may be their dream project, the question is, do they say, you know what? I'm willing to sell off my Rattler. I'm willing to get rid of my Hiss. I don't need the Snowcat because I need the Whale that bad. I think that presents a whole different problem. And I'm not talking about, again, just space, where people say I don't have space for it. It creates I physically don't have space because of the other stuff that I bought. So how can I back this one? And this is where your numbers go down. Where let's say you started and rather than doing the Dragonfly, you said, we're going to do a Whale. And you come out with this big Whale. Now people look at the Whale and they go, okay, this is a display piece. It holds all these figures, so it's easier to make space for stuff. But you do a Dragonfly, and now the Hasbro team can look at that and go, all right, well, how can we make it so they have a Whale, it's taking up all the space on the ground, on a shelf. What can we do with the Dragonfly? Well, we're going to give it a stand like this, but we're also going to give it a wall mount. They really should have made a wall mount for both the Dragonfly and the Rattler. And it's something they could still go back and do. But again, then you have to decide like how many people are actually going to buy this, because there's only so many of them made. And 3-star says, the Whale fights the Moray. Why can't you understand? Yeah, I understand that. But if you don't have the Whale first, you're not going to get a Moray. And the Hydrofoil is not as iconic in the story. Lone Dragon says no paying over 175 for a Thunder Machine. Well, if it's a HasLab, you're going to pay about 275. All right, so okay. Now we're kind of talking about what we would like. I have said before, I think a tactical battle platform is the perfect HasLab because it's literally its own table, right? You can't say, dude, where am I going to put this? You put it anywhere. And it holds all of these figures. And I think this could be that first one that all the tiers are vehicles. And this is what I mean by that. You have a devilfish. Now, you make the devilfish so it kind of, there's like a little underhang for it. So when it's up in the air, it looks like it's in the water. The devilfish can sit right next to it. And then you have the armadillo, the mini tank, right? Because that went there. And then you have the skyhawk. Those are your 3 tiers. You can raise it more because you're like, hey, you don't have to buy a new shelf for it, a new DTOF. This is for it. That's why I think the tactical battle platform is perfect for a HasLab. It's its own table. And this is what I can say. I have some really cheap, like $30 tables. My Roomba smashes into them. They don't cause any problems. So anything like that, you would be able to make the legs sturdier. M. Hatfield jumping in here saying a devilfish with water moccasin would be dope. I think we're gonna get both of them. I really do. I don't want to see a 2-pack of those two because then you're looking at $150. Probably more than that because the devilfish will probably be about a $75 price point. Just my guess, or $80 price point, because it's going to come with a figure. It's going to come with a figure. Like the devilfish would be perfect to give a diver or seal version of Shipwreck. Because then you get another diver, but you get an actual main character. I saw someone talk about the divers, and they said, you know what would have been cool is if they would have given extra head sculpts to who the divers were in that episode. I know, off track, but whatever. Mauler can't be next because if they follow the same concept, it's going to be a Cobra vehicle. So if they did a made to order, they could do the Thunder Machine. I think the next HasLab will either be the Thunder Machine, or, and this if they continue to do this, if they continue to follow what they've been doing, it'll either be the Thunder Machine or Destro's. Is it the spoiler? Whatever the big one that Destro had. I actually thought that would probably be it last year for the Rattler. And the other thing that they could do is the Conquest. They're not going to do a Sky Striker and they're not going to do a Night Raven. And I don't even want to think about space with those two. So, but again, I just wonder if, if the concept of the Kickstarter has run its course. Some of us backed other Kickstarters, Call Sign Longbow and Operation Recall, over 3 years ago for O-Ring. Now I only bought 4 from each. And I also backed Skeletron, which I'm waiting on one figure, which is the Jungle Wolf. Now I went and I actually bought, I bought other figures. I bought other figures from Skeletron. Forget about that. Those will be coming hopefully soon. But yeah. Let's see. RGCK4MG. That's a lot. Hi. Do you think with Hasbro trying new release approach of fall conventions with Pythona make her easier to get than Once a Man Cobra Commander? All right. This one is difficult for me to This is one is difficult because I didn't have a hard time getting once a man Cobra Commander. A matter of fact, I had multiple people. I had one person send me a once a man Cobra Commander for a giveaway. He seemed to be up there. I don't think it's going to be difficult to get Pythona. They know people want this figure, and they know G.I. Joe is popular. I think the biggest problem for the G.I. Joe team, I think the biggest problem for the G.I. Joe team is getting the perfect balance. And what I mean by that is, they did who was the PulseCon exclusive last year? The cereal box guy. Someone will tell me in the comments. I should probably get all the way up here. Whoever the cereal box guy was. Wow, I'm so far behind in the comments. Starduster, thank you very much. So that ended up at other places. I don't think they want that to happen, but they know people want Pythona. At the same time, I'm going to quickly jump over. Is Cold Slither still available? I think it is. And remember, this caused a huge issue. People throwing hissy fits. I mean that in the best way possible. You can still order the Cold Slither. So this will force them to rethink how many they made. And I can say this: unlike the Crimson 3-pack, this Cold Slither is awesome. Not that I have an issue with the Crimson Stripe team, but it's not nearly as cool. And it was just 3 repaints and Baroness with new arms. Where this thing is awesome, this Cold Slither. If you don't have one, I don't know why. It's such a cool setup. I think they're going to be readily available. They seem to be making stuff available. It just may not be available exactly right when they show it, and that bothers people because we live in this world of instant gratification. I have a feeling logistical nightmares like what we see now. Again, I have been to so many Walmarts in the past week looking for Crystal Ball, and I just happen to be looking at it, Mighty Force Beachhead and Quick Kick. And I've seen that display in one Walmart. I've probably been to at least 12 different Walmarts. And I've gone back to the same Walmarts numerous times that are in my vicinity, assuming that if one got it, they'd start showing them up, right? The thing is, the figure is going to be available. It's not going to be that hard to get. Of course, we just want it right now. And again, I'm no different. I want instant gratification. And it drives me nuts that when I pre-ordered it from Walmart using PayPal, they charge you right away, and my Crystal Ball has not moved. He's just sitting there, not even in processing. Wolverine jumping in here saying, hey there, Punk. Hope all is well. Agree the Slow Slither set is awesome. I hope they make more bands, Gem and Joe's. With this thing not selling out, I don't know. The Gem, I think, would be very interesting. Even though she's not part of it, they really went hard showing Gem right there. And I know some people would disagree with me. I don't know. But I got to remember where I'm at. But yeah, I think Pythona is going to be easy to get. You have to think she's going to 4 different conventions, which means there's going to be a lot of eBay and also a lot of a huge chance to get her through people that, this is why we say make friends with people in the community. So someone can pick up an extra one. A lot of people got Cold Slither from the show, not just from Pulse. And people overseas got it really, got it easily too. Crescio Crow says Helix is actually gem. You heard it here first. Is gem black? I mean, oh no, Helix. I'm sorry. I was thinking of shooter. Oh, you know what? I can actually kind of see that. Viper Scout says Gem Hector Ramirez 2-pack. Ooh, that would be interesting. But anyway, so I just do wonder if the crowdfund, if again, what we saw, I know I am Matthew. I do my best. And Liquid Identity quickly says, can I just buy extra figs and hope for friends afterwards? You can try. You can try. I don't know how that works. Yes, Viper Scout says, with microphones. Any other band members need to have microphones. I'm with you 100%. There was no reason why they shouldn't have microphones. They're a band. I don't care that there's shots, but I know that's what Lenny said, and I really like Lenny. Nice guy. I know he said, "Hey, there were shots where they didn't have microphones. It's a band. How did you not make a microphone?" Again, and a microphone could be used for so many different things. Cobra Commander at a podium, right? Like so many different things you could reuse it. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. There were so many man-childs that were mad about what it was. And again, if you said, "Hey, I don't really think the Snowcat is worth it. I'm not going to buy it," that's okay. I get it. If you said, "Hey, I'm not a big fan of the Snowcat. I really wanted a Mauler or some sort of tank," I understand that. You can go get a tank elsewhere from Ramen. But the way people acted, and again, I knew this was going to happen. And again, I'm not the only one. Most people that followed this knew that once it got close and once the thing funded, those people that said, "I'm not going to buy this," they had that FOMO and they backed it. And that's why you get 16,000. And with that said, this is going to be the lowest HasLab of G.I. Joe classified. I know someone's going to say the Sky Striker, but the Sky Striker is a different scale. This one will probably be worth the most amount of money. Those figures, again, there's less figures. So, people probably going to pay $100 for each figure. Anywhere from $75 to $100 each figure. And the price will only go up. So, but yeah, so I'm not sure. It is odd, and I wonder that if this is a Disney thing, or maybe they decided to try it with Disney, the Disney products, and do the made to order. They did it with Marvel and Star Wars. The Sentinel, Dragon Man right there, the Mephisto, which is an amazing looking figure. Go pre-order it if you haven't. But when they do stuff like that, the made to order, and they did it for Jabba's Palace, I think it was Jabba's Palace. I think they've done a couple of Star Wars ones. The problem that they could run into is that you can still cancel it, and then they're stuck with that. Now, I know people are going to say, "I don't really care about Hasbro," and that's fine. You're not supposed to, but you have to look at it from their point of view. That if all these people cancel and they're stuck with it, they'll say, "I'm not going to do this anymore." And again, it's not for us to buy everything just so the line continues. But if you try and fuck them over, they will be the first ones to say, "You know what? We're not going to continue to do this. It's not profitable for us." I know this may bother some people, but Hasbro wants to make a profit. When people say Hasbro doesn't care about you, you're right. They don't. They're a fucking corporation. They literally can't care about you. All right. Do I believe that the designers and the people that run each brand care? Yes, they do. They definitely do. And do I think a small company like Four Horsemen, AWalk, like they care about their customer because they're so directly connected to them. But Hasbro doesn't. So when people says Hasbro don't give a fuck, they don't give a shit about us. You're right. They don't. They don't. They're there to pad their pockets. End of story. End of story. That's what they're there for. Hi, it's me. Says Tony doesn't cry. He just pours some out and walks home. I don't know what he was saying there. Crusty Crow says, I'm glad that FOMO crushed so many. I wanted that Snowcat since day one, and now I will have it despite the haters. And again, I would love to sit there and say I have enough time that I was able to go there and screenshot every single person that talked about sending a message to Hasbro. I'm not going to back this. Just so when it comes out, you could sit down and be like, okay, let's see who actually has one who said they were not going to back this and that you shouldn't back it. Because there's going to be a whole bunch. Tony says, I'm just crying for a Thunder Machine. The Thunder Machine, when it comes to a larger scale vehicle and $150, if you want to do a Thunder Machine for $100, if there's any vehicle, and I'm trying to think of the best way to put this, I think that if there's any vehicle that you wanted to do at retail or Hasbro Pulse, Sergeant Reds, BBT, stuff like that, that you wanted to try a $150 price point, I think the Thunder Machine is it. But here's the thing with the Thunder Machine. There is no reusing. There is no redoing it. It is a one and done. There is no repainting the Thunder Machine, right? It is what it is. You can't use it for anything else. You can do a Polar Battle Bear, all right? And then you paint it blue, and it's Cobras. The Hiss, there was multiple Hiss. No big deal. The Vamp is the Stinger. It is the Mark II. I still can't believe it. We haven't got a Mark II, right? I can go on and on and on. But when it comes to the Thunder Machine, it was a mixed, mashed, something just fucking Thrasher put together. It cannot be redone. So I think it has to be one of those made to order what works. Or it is the one that you give it a shot. You say, we're going $150 and we're going to see if this works. And if it works, it's awesome. But I think for the size of that thing, and again, Lenny talked about it with the Vamp, and he talked about it extensively with the Snowcat, is that because they're side by side, that takes up a lot more space. They didn't expect the Vamp to be as wide as it was, but there was no way to get around it. Bjorn says Thunder Machine will be as long as the Snowcat with lights on the roof. You need it to be a HasLab. That's another thing, man. That could be the first HasLab that has sounds and the flashing light. That is so true. That could be a HasLab with sound. It has flashing lights. I don't need a machine gun that's going. I think the flashing, a flashing light, because it has a police light on it. But I think a sound would actually be pretty damn cool. It also has to be one. Well, I guess they all now will have the USB-C charger, which is what they all should have had to begin with. This isn't new technology, okay? Ramen put it in the Ramen Racer. They can do it. But yeah. G.I. Jetman says, yeah, my bank probably hates. My bank probably does hate me. I'm in the negative in my account because of Snowcat, Polar Bear, set me in Silverhawk Copper Kid pre-order. I know the bank will love you because you're gonna have to pay those overdraft fees. So I hope you're not. Like, these are toys. I honestly, people, like, do not overextend yourself. Never overextend yourself. Remember that. These are toys. This is what you consider a luxury, not a necessity. And that's why, I mean, we recently talked about it on the Circle of Jerks, like all these pre-orders hitting. It sucks for some people. I understand that. But when you pre-order the snake, I'm sorry, if you ordered 4 snake armors, I don't feel bad for you if you're worrying that, oh, how am I going to have the money for this? They're all about to charge. I'm sorry, like, you're the one that pre-ordered that many. You should have put that money aside. You had time to do it. You have 45 days to come up with the money. Again, I know it may be something we love, but sometimes you have to say, you know what, I can't do this right now. You might have to come back to it later and pay aftermarket prices. But yeah, don't ever let that be what puts you in debt or in the negative. Please don't. Again, these are toys, man. They're fun, but you can find other toys to circumvent that. Transporter 8 says, I backed a Snowcat. It is my favorite vehicle. Growing up in the Northeast, but my mother was not having it with me taking that thing in the snow when I was younger. Had to use imagination. I have to say this. As a kid in Michigan with lots of vehicles, I think we've discussed this. There was something special about taking your fucking toys out into the snow and fucking playing with it. There was something really, really, really fucking fun about it. Going out in the snow, making, the tracks. It was fun to take the hiss out there. It was fun to take the dragonfly, although you have to do it in a short burst. It was fun. I took my snowcats out there last year along with the polar bear, kind of put them all out there. There is something fun about going out in the snow with your toys and leaving tracks and leaving marks and stuff like that. There's something about it. I'm just quickly looking at here. I think Shark Eyes was talking, says heed those wise words, folks. I think you're talking about what I was saying. Like, I can't express it anymore. We all want these things. But I really do think if you can't afford it, and I've said this before, if you can't afford a $25 action figure, there is no shame in it. There's nothing wrong with that. Things are expensive today, and we work really hard for our money. And if you even think, hey, $25 for an action figure, I don't think it's worth it, that's fine. If you can't afford a $25 action figure, there's no shame in it, man. Like, don't ever look at it and look at, well, that guy can afford it. That person can afford, like, don't ever compare yourself to that, and don't have any shame in that. There's other things that you can, that can bring you joy, but not being able to afford your car payment, your mortgage, your water, all that type of stuff, man. Toys are not worth it. They are a luxury. And I know some of us it gets out of control. But yeah, just don't let it ever take over, because it's no different than gambling. I listen to a lot of sports radio, and I think the biggest mistake they did was making sports gambling so easy for people to do, because not everyone has the ability to say, I'm going to put $20 in this, and I'm going to bet on a few games. And if I make money, that's what I did. I put like $20 on it. I think I worked my way up to like $120, $130. And then I started losing. I never lost any money because it was only the money that was in it. It's just like if you want to be a flipper with toys, you know, you can't buy the toys that aren't worth any money and flip them because you're going to end up in the red. So yeah. Warchest says, I only buy one figure a month. We all know that's a lie. And DJ Mr. McFly says, I just canceled a bunch of pre-orders. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, man. Like, again, I know we're way off topic right now. But I really do worry about people. I worry, like, again, and we see it. Sean Tate says, I bet, but I don't gamble. And that, you know what, I think that's maybe a good way to look at it, right? Well, I guess gambling is you go to the casino. But again, like if you go with $100 to the casino or $200 or whatever you have is disposable income. And you're like, hey, I'm going to go there. And if I lose the $200, that's fine. I have this disposable. I'm going there to have a good time. I don't know. Is it any different than going to a restaurant and spending, $50 on a meal and then going out to a movie and stuff like that? And maybe you're like one of those people that says, hey, I'm going to go to the casino, and you go with $200 and you walk away with $500. Or maybe you're one of those people that you work it up to 1,000 and then you end up working your way back down to 300 or to 0 or whatever. And you're like, hey, it doesn't matter. It just extended my play of having fun. I went there not planning on coming home with the $200, so I don't care that I lost it. You worked your way up and then you lost it. Again, that's fine. That's all your disposable income. And again, I don't want anyone, I really don't, man. I really don't want anyone to feel like they're ashamed that they can't afford a $25 figure, because there's nothing wrong with it. I've had numerous friends that I'll run into. You run into them around town. People you went to school with, 20, 30 years ago. And they're working at, CVS or a Kroger or something like that. And a lot of times, like, their first thing will be like, oh, this is my second job, or, oh, I have another. I don't, dude, you're working. Like, you're working. You have a job, and that means more than anything to me. So I just hate that. Izzy Trevi says, I declare bankruptcy in my Michael Scott boy. When they try and tell, like, dude, you can't just declare bankruptcy. You have to file. I'm sorry. The Office is one of my favorite. It's not only one of my favorite TV shows, it is one of the best TV shows of all time. And I watched it from day one. Quickly, Nowhere Man Child says, the ease of modern technology leads to trouble when we're not diligent. Yes. Look after yourself and look after one another. And you are absolutely correct. And there's a lot of ways. And I know we're pretty much left the topic of the crowdfunding thing. There's a lot of ways to look at it. This whole channel was never meant to be. And it was when my buddy Greg was said, hey, why don't you just try and get monetized? You're doing these reviews, then you maybe make some money. And originally he kind of was like, maybe you get free stuff from Hasbro, Mattel. I kind of left that because it's not what I wanted to do. After we started growing, I had looked at some stuff And I knew that to grow this channel, I was going to have to overcharge myself to get to a point where I was monetized, and then it was able to, so that I would be self-maintaining and not paying for the toys. And that's exactly what I did. But I had a plan, and I knew what I was looking to accomplish. And I had 2 forms of credit, and the goal was, hey, I will charge these up. And obviously, it was, once you get monetized, you're like, all right, I know it's going to cost me, but I had an end game. And for me, it's worked out. It's not going to work out for everyone, but I had a specific strategic plan. So I was okay with kind of overcharging with things that I was buying to review, because I knew that it was going to build the base that that is built. But I also had a plan to do it, not just to overcharge myself. So, Krusty says, if you can't find a Dwight at your workplace, you might be him. I will say once again, anyone that watches The Office, anyone that's ever watched The Office, if they say, oh yeah, I know who that is, I know who that is, I don't know who that person is, that's because it's you, right? If you can't figure out who that person is, you're that person. Crackmaster says, I enjoyed my time tonight, gentlemen. Off to bed now. Appreciate all that you do, sir. Thank you very much. That means the world to me. Again, yeah, I know, Matthew. Guess who made it 3 hours without trying? Almost there. I know. But I want to put it out there. So, hey, if I don't make it 3 hours, you can understand. But you get me off topic and we go into something else. And in all honesty, like this here, like this, what this topic transitioned into, it is something I feel very, very strongly about, man. And again, I watched, it's funny because like as a 40-year-old going back into skateboarding, I watched people, younger kids, young adults riding skateboards that were just totally fucking trashed. And, I'm living in an age, I'm living where I have a career and I can go buy a new skateboard. And if I break my board, it breaks. I go buy a new one. I don't have a problem with it. Or if it chips. And it's hard to go back and think, oh my God, I used to have to ride shit. Now, again, I worked at a skate shop too. So I guess I didn't buy too many. I didn't have to ride old boards all that much. But yeah, it's one of those things where I watch people, and I'll be 100% honest. I fell into that trap when I was younger. My dad told me one thing. Well, no, my dad told me many things, but he said, do not build yourself in debt with credit. And you're living at home and you're making great money because you live at home and you don't pay fucking rent. And then you overcharge things. And then you move out. And then you have to, then you're paying rent or you get a mortgage, right? I did it. I lived it. I try and tell my kids this is what you don't want to do. Now, at almost 50, life is completely different. But when I decided when I talked about as the monetization was coming, I knew that I had a way that I could use different forms of credit, only those 2. So be honest, if I racked those things up, I was done. I could sell the toys off and pay that stuff down. I never touched other stuff because, you have actual responsibilities. And that's why I tell everyone, I'm like, you should have, if you're not financially set, you should have one credit card that's your toys or whatever your hobby is, skateboarding, music, whatever. Like that's what it goes on. And if that maxes out, then you're done. You find ways, you pay that off, but you don't let that go to another one. Right? Nowhere Man Child says at our age it's better to break to break the board than to break you. Dude, I said that always. And every time I broke a board, especially when I went back to skating, I was breaking boards like crazy. I said, I'm more than happy to hear that crack. And I will say this right now. Anyone that's ever skateboarded, you know the sound of a board breaking, but I love the sound of a board cracking. Like landing a trick and you hear the tail snap off, or doing a lip slide and you hear it crack. You hate it, but there's something very special about it. There's something I love about it. But yes, let the board break and not me every single day. Matthew says, I break boards all the time and bricks. I know. I know if Ed was here, he could vouch for me. I send all kinds of karate stuff all the time in our mods chat saying, I want to see this. I want to see this at Joe Fest. Cobra Commander says, I recommend people to stay in their parents' vacation home. They rarely use it anyway, and that way they can live rent-free. Problem fixed. My dad didn't have one, but damn, that sounds awesome. Hi, it's me says, welcome to a punk with financial advice. Listen. I can tell you this. I can only give a lot of financial advice because I did everything wrong as a late teenager, early 20-year-old. That's all I can say. I've done everything wrong. War Chest says, transfer your balance. Don't let punk keep you from your dreams. Studio stacks to the max. Get those toys done. Matt and Hyatt me says Matthew does martial arts. Everyone. Todsy says just break the board along the grain. That's a lot harder to do. I mean, I know how to do it. Like, I know how to physically break it, like down the middle, around the trucks. I used to not break your board in like every way. I had a lot of issues. Lawrence is the Suze Orman of toys. Well, again, it just came up. It just came up. You know, I wouldn't say take financial advice from me. I'm just saying what you shouldn't. I'm just saying what I think people shouldn't do. But I also don't think that that's. I don't think that I'm saying anything that people don't already know. But I think some people need to. I think sometimes it needs to be reinforced because I think even at our age, many people. It's not just FOMO, but they see, well, that person my age, they have it. I should be able to get it too. And, you know, this is going to suck for people to hear. We're not all equal. And what I mean by that is we all don't make the same amount of money. We all don't have the same lifestyles. We all can't buy everything that each other buys. And again, I don't see someone driving a Corvette or a Viper and think, why do they have that and I don't? Unless if they're one of those assholes that fishtail and then like hit a pole, then I think like, why does that asshole have that and I don't? But then I also think that if I had like an SRT Challenger, I'd probably be that asshole. Look at this. And Mr. Wonderful jumping in right as we're about to end because Matthew wanted 3 hours and we just hit 3 hours. So I said I might not go 3 hours, but I did. All right, guys, it is time for me to go. Tomorrow, Circle of Jerks. It cannot be seen here anymore on my channel. And again, I will reiterate, 75% of the people have been watching Circle of Jerks on my channel, but it's Baldy's brainchild. And that is where we're going to be shifting it. So once again, I'm going to drop this link to our show tomorrow. So I want you to head on over, hit the remind me so you don't forget. And then also subscribe to Baldy's channel so you hear it, so it pops up every single day or every single week that we go live. All right. And I can tell you right now that his subscribers have jumped up. So I know a bunch of you jumped over there. So if you tune in here at 6:30 and you're like, where the fuck is a Circle of Jerks? Well, we're over on Baldy's channel. It's not that hard to find, but I do know people have a hard time subscribing to another channel and going over there. I want to say this 3-star draw. Happy fucking birthday to you. Here you go. Go over there, subscribe, watch. Let's see, what does he have right here? I'm looking. What videos does he have? He just dropped Major Blood. He has Vega up there. He has Cobra Commander. So go over there, check him out, hit subscribe, tune in. I don't know. I think he's doing more Friday lives. So, and wish him a big happy birthday, because it's, well, you know what? It's not his birthday anymore. So fuck him. Well, technically it's still birthday. It's still his birthday in his time. He's Central Time, but in my time, it's no longer his birthday. So I don't give a shit. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys all. I've had a great fucking time. You guys pushed me to 3 hours, no caffeine, like only water, no caffeine, no pop, nothing like that. Wow. Only an hour if you live in the wrong time zone, the right time zone, Eastern Standard Time. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Circle of Jerks over on Baldy Fucks Reviews. God, I should probably say it right. Baldy Locks Reviews, considering it's over there. Take care.